Good afternoon for the final time from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. A little winter weather blowing in here for the final day of the curling bubble. It started February 19th. 7 events will finish up here later on this afternoon as we declare a world champion inside where it's not snowing quite as much as it is outside of the Winsport Arena at Canada Olympic Park. Hopefully everyone's buckled in, ready for a lot of fun action here. The gold medal game, RCF, taking on Switzerland, the LGT, World Women's Curling Championship 2021. And we're down to 2 teams for the gold medal. We'll see one of those 2 teams hoisting that later on this afternoon. And we'll see the teams playing in this one. For RCF, their lead, Ekaterina Kuzmina. Their second, Galina Arsenkina. Their third, Julia Porchinova. And the skip of RCF, Alina Kovaleva. And they'll take on the reigning world champions. Their lead, Melanie Barbazet. Second is Esther Neuenschwander. Their skip, throwing third stone, Silvana Tiranzoni. And their fourth stone thrower, Alina Petz. It's been a long haul to get here, 23 round-robin sessions. 6 teams with the queue into the playoffs and also Olympic spots. Switzerland, RCF, Sweden, Denmark, United States, Canada. Korea, 7-6, loses out on the tiebreaker formula. Then Scotland, Germany, and China right behind. Japan, Czech Republic, Italy, and Estonia round out the 14-team field. The playoffs went like this. Sweden beating Canada along with the United States beating Denmark. They got to the semis, while Switzerland beat the US. RCF beating Sweden sets up this gold medal game we saw earlier. The United States knock off Sweden for the bronze. We know one of the medalists. We know the other 2. Just what color will it be? And we'll find out in just a few hours. Luke Coley along with Olympic and world champion Jill Officer. These 2 teams out on the ice. Long wait after winning those semis yesterday, but they get to go out and play for gold.
Yeah, and how exciting is this? I mean, I'm excited, and I remember what it's like playing in these gold medal games. So, I think it's going to be a good one. These have been the top 2 teams of the week, and I just think, Russia's going to hopefully have to just embrace the new situation for themselves. This is a familiar spot for Switzerland, and especially for Alina Petz, who's such a great under pressure player. And so I think Russia's going to have to be careful about how they manage the beginning of this game against this really tough Swiss team.
And Switzerland and women's curling has been dominant of late. 5 of the last 8. We've said it throughout this event. They've been very strong. They're the reigning world champions. They're trying to do what Niklas Edin and Sweden did on the men's side, win their back-to-back titles in the bubble. They'll try and do it for Switzerland, make it 6 out of 9. RCF be their first to win a title here. Kovaleva, all smiles now to get things going in this game. Jill, you said you played in it. It was 2018. You won before. It was the last time Switzerland didn't win it, obviously 3 years ago. And you go into this game. Do you want to just, you get to practice that wait, those few moments before as you see the teams waiting. What are those like? You just want to get on the ice?
100%. That's always how I felt. It was like sometimes that waiting around was just such a, just let's go. Let's get this going. Because if you're excited and you're nervous and you have those butterflies floating around, trying to manage them for any length of time sometimes can be a challenge. So definitely I'm guessing that both of these teams have been just eager to get out here since they woke up this morning.
So RCF will have the red stone, Switzerland with the yellow and the hammer because of their 12-1 round-robin record. They were the number 1 seed. RCF, the number 2 seed, 1 game behind. And that was a game they played Thursday morning. It's not that long ago. We're Sunday afternoon. They have gotten the word. It's good to go. Time to get this gold medal game underway. Ekaterina Kuzmina in her 2nd world championship.
So, little surprising to me to some degree to see RCF calling for the tight guard here. I wouldn't have been surprised to see this necessarily in games earlier in the week, but sometimes in a gold medal game, a championship game like this that you've never played in, you might consider getting your nerves out in the first end and just throwing some really simple shots. So a little bit of game on here.
Well, if you were in yesterday, you saw both these teams aren't afraid to play with stones in the house, especially RCF. Got a big lead and had no problem. We're going to stick with the draw game, even though they're very strong in the hits.
Yeah, they're typically a really good front-running team. So, I know it was talked about in the broadcast yesterday about some of the questionable strategy calls and not playing those hits and continuing with that front-running strategy. But, they got away with it. So we'll see what happens today. This one's looks like it's way out there. It's really moving in there now. Wow, that really came out nice.
Well, we saw the extra swing, the big movement that we've seen throughout the whole week and consistent speed.
Yeah, really, the ice has been fantastic. Lots of movement and really great for making awesome shots. Trying to get just a little to the inside of this, and they do, setting up a nice angle there.
Я думаю, тоже можно 13.60, да. Добавлю, совсем чуть-чуть добавлю. Пока 6 до. Линия свип. 6 до. Линия очень. 6-4. Линия да, линия свип.
This one's moving just a little bit light, I think. Yeah, just a hair lighter than what they wanted, which caused the curl. And as much as the teams do practice in the pregame practice, that was the first one down that side. So maybe got a tighter path than what they saw in practice. Sometimes those middle areas are a little fresher. So no surprise here to see Sweden peel off the guard, especially being so high, and they have the last stone. Those angles are set up really well for Switzerland. You can see that if you were to nose the red one, the two red ones would go, and they'd leave all the yellows.
Ровно стей нужен, да? Ровно стей нужен. Стей можно чуть-чуть не давал. Не давал. Вес? Тилайн. Тилайн. Окей. Чуть-чуть посильнее ногами. Да.
Well, nothing of that one on the top of the button is visible here in this first end of the gold medal matchup. Galina Arsenkina.
Не добавила. Внимание.
I think they're actually playing maybe to tap this a little bit. The ice looked a little, or maybe just showing a guard. It's sometimes hard to understand with the language. No, they're actually tapping the middle.
Just changing the angles, trying to unlock that one.
Yes, yeah. Based on the ice, and I thought she had a lot of weight at the beginning. I thought they were coming around to try to tap it.
Rules of play, 8 ends minimum must be played. 38 minutes of thinking time given to each side. 1 60-second timeout.
Muss er noch bis am Vierfuß? Nein. Okay. Muss einfach besser sein als der da. Ja, ist gut. Halber Nachfuß wäre schon genug gut. Okay, gut, Esther. Ist gut.
So I think drawing open side, just going back 8 so that there's no double, but sort of setting this up as a shot that maybe might give them a potential 3 at some point. those angles are still pretty good for Switzerland at the top.
Vind ik knap. Hang is oké. Hang is oké. Is daar.
Sauber dit.
Ja, is dit. Ze gingen 12 vol. Is mega snel, ja.
And this one's running a little.
They wanted it to be deep. That was the worry. They didn't want to be short, but it's going to slide right by
Dat is een goed gespeeld.
and through the rings. So an early mistake, Esther Nieuwenschwander.
Нравится красный наигрывать? Да,
In case where you probably don't throw that draw as much in the practice session.
For sure you don't, and I'm not surprised to see that Esther was heavy there, especially, you know, we've talked before about how often those middle paths will be fresh in the beginning of the game, especially in the first end, and so it's no surprise to me that she threw a little extra weight, trying to make sure that it was there. They couldn't really be short and leave a double, and they certainly don't want to, you know, leave it too high and put up some sort of guard. So she threw a little extra, and it was maybe a little faster than they thought.
So now Portanova trying to go red onto shot stone and sticks it behind that lineup.
Молодец.
So RCF lying one.
Увереннее, да, был вес?
9-3.
Ага. Хорош.
Молодец.
Yeah, so Switzerland has to hit this now and deal with it. They've got to get rid of that one, particularly in the forefoot. So I think they get rid of a couple here.
Heel. Ja.
I think they should be able to get rid of that top red one. And I think it'll come back and hit that red one in the forefoot, depending on where exactly she hits it. I don't think that yellow one is necessarily going to sit right there.
What?
And we'll see. Sometimes with them close together, you get a bit of drag. We'll see there's a bit of space where they hit this one on the first stone. And those reds off the top will spin all the way out.
Goed, super, Didi.
Both the yellows go and leaves just one red back of the 8-foot.
Yeah, and that's actually really good. Switzerland will be happy with that, even though that red one is still in there. They might have a chance at a double still here.
Линия отличная. Прямо идет. Линия отличная.
Well, they're trying to split the rings so they don't leave any sort of double, but you got to get this really far to the wing.
Где-то, девчонки. Надо вес. Надо вес до самого конца.
Будет 4.
Давай.
4.
Да. Хорош, молодцы.
Спасибо большое за съемку.
Молодец, Юль.
Хороший контроль, молодцы. Спасибо.
10,5.
So not quite biting the 4-foot.
Yeah, and Switzerland's just going to try to hit, and there's no sense in playing the double here right now. Just hit and roll in front, and maybe get a miss out of RCF, like a jam.
Ik denk, ga je hem zo normaal zijn hoop spelen.
What?
Yep. Ja. Best. Ja. Best. Dat komt goed. Hoe zo je komt? Best.
Well, they want to try and roll in front. Doesn't get a lot, but it is shot stone.
Denk je, goed. Ja.
RCF have to decide how aggressive they want to try and roll away or give an attempt at that double.
На 10 стейдж.
Yeah, I think even the nose here is fine.
На 10.
You know, the angles weren't great for RCF early in the end, so even if they allow Swiss to blank, that's okay.
Well, a nice way to start this game for the RCF skip. Alina Kovaleva
Внимание. Ничего.
was in one final back in 2017, but that was as an alternate, so not in the game. It's 2 medals. Previous trip as a skip was in 2019. They lost in the qualifying round there.
So this ends up being a good force for RCF.
Well, Lena has this chance to make this double with her first. If he doesn't, then RCF can have control and put the pressure on. Well, she's been the top skip all week long percentage-wise, and
Oh, and they just missed the line call on that. I think they were playing it like the other way where it comes straight back, and they could have called it to actually go out over the top. And now these are going to be quite far apart. See here, just they kind of sweep it at the end, and it just dead jams on that back one. They could have swept it to keep it straight and gone off the top, over the top of that back red one and played the double the other way.
yeah, one of those in between. There's two ways to make it, as you said, Jill, and they missed the line call for both. An opportunity to get that force now. Make the hit and stick for Kovaleva. Hit. Needs to make sure they stick, and will roll to the heart of the rings. Lie two.
And they do. And it probably rolled far enough that it forces Switzerland to just take their single.
Well, RCF already has that one miss from Alina Petz, and I don't think she had many of those in their game against the US yesterday. Of course, Alina, a three-time world champion. 2019, 2015 as the skip with a different team, and then in 2012 as the alternate, Mary Mott.
2015 was the year that we lost to them in the gold medal game.
Sorry to bring that up.
Yeah.
Alina Petz starts this gold medal game off with the hit for a single point. 1-0. Switzerland leading RCF.
Ich glaube, es ist wie immer. Ja, ja. Also es hat jetzt auch wieder nicht Wort, es hat nicht sollen wie gestern.
Bin ich irgendwo immer drin.
Außer 12, glaube ich.
Ja. Wenn es ein bisschen mehr noch. Ja.
Ja, so ist mega gut.
Gut. Schön vor der 4.
Ja.
So the second end, Melanie Barbazat in Switzerland will get this one started. Being forced to take one in the first. Long game left here. As RCF will have the hammer for the first time, and call here for Switzerland come into the rings.
So they're going to make RCF try to generate their points here. They're okay having RCF blank this even end. We talk a lot about having the last stone advantage in the even ends. I don't find it as important in the beginning of the game as maybe later in the game, but some teams, I think, take that approach throughout
From the early going.
from the early going.
Well, important placement of these stones, and you look at obviously percentage, and the Swiss team losing just one game all week long. They're the top percentage-wise at every position, right across the board. And the biggest gap between these two teams is at the lead spot. There's 7% difference over 13 games. So that'll be something to see how, if Kuzmina can set things up as well as Barbazet. We've seen her do it throughout the week.
You know, Kevin Martin and I spoke about this yesterday in watching the Sweden-Canada game, and really how it was starting right from the lead position, that Brianne wasn't quite getting her rocks in the right place, and Sophia was 100%, and how much of a difference it was making down the line. So sometimes we neglect to talk about how important the leads are, but you know, that's really where it starts, that if they can get their rocks in a good position, it makes it easier for the second, the third, and the skip. Whereas if they don't, then you're bailing from the time the second gets in the hack.
Well, so we'll see. First key shot with the hammer for Kuzmina. A very powerful sweeper as well, and very important in the rest of the team's shots. Seems to always be on the inside of the stone. That one will chip off the front and slide just into the house.
Weight looked close, maybe a touch late.
So through lead stones, early advantage, Switzerland in the second end.
Yes. Now, rather than Esther at second needing to play any bail shot, here she is with an opportunity to put some early pressure on RCF.
Well, makes the hit. And rolls a little bigger, but still lying two.
Давай на 10. Окей.
Talked about the lead position and the 7% difference. Between the seconds, only 0.3% difference between Arsenkina at 85.7 to 86 of Esther Neuenschwander.
Not a whole lot to choose from there.
Arsenkina can't quite make that roll behind cover, still in the open.
Yeah, really, it's about just outplaying your opponent that's on the sheet with you. You know, if you can do that, then that's a benefit to your team.
That being said, you outplay your opponent, you're going to leave simpler shots, not simpler, but a lower degree of difficulty for your teammate at the next position.
Exactly.
Well, a slight miss as they try to remove that red one, and it does just get out of the blue rings. The RCF coach, Sergei Belinov, working with this team a number of years, was with them finishing 5th in Denmark in 2019. Again, another year in the playoffs. But they've made a change at the third position with Julia Porchanova coming in.
Trying to roll it away now.
Сори, казалось, что сильнее заход будет, прям мягко было очень. Да, мне тоже казалось, но он не особо сильно бил.
Pierre Charette on the Swiss bench. On this is a new coaching addition for the Swiss team.
Yeah, and as much as we, you know, there's been some talk today about the coaches that have been involved in these playoffs, and quite a number of them are Canadian. It's important to point out that these teams had significant success prior to, as much as I love, you know, obviously I'm Canadian, that's not a secret, but, you know, these Swiss girls have won world championships and Grand Slams prior to having a Canadian coach. And
well, rolls into the forefoot, but you're absolutely right, Jill.
Well, they did have a Canadian coach years ago, Al Moore, but you know, Anna Hasselberg was an Olympic gold medalist before Wayne Middaugh was their coach, and
trying to add that extra different coaching, a different perspective to try and take them, add that extra experience and the wisdom that they can add. Porchinova trying to roll behind that center.
Да, свип, 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 свип. И можно маленький рольчик. Хорош, Юлька. Сори.
Там прям как-то не заходит.
everyone trying to make the roll here. Can't believe it's the last day in the bubble, Luke.
It's been a long time in the bubble. Not as much for ourselves. We had a break between the worlds, but it's 78 days from the first start of the Canadian Women's Championship, February 19th. 88 days for the ice crew, who came in on February 9th.
Yeah, amazing.
Both these teams were at the Grand Slam event, so they played 2 events prior to this World Women's Curling Championship. Neither side able to make that roll, as Tiranzoni makes the nose hit.
I think for RCF here, they can afford to overroll. They have that corner guard that they can work with a little bit.
Julia Porchinova, 2013 World Junior Champion. Oh, there's the hit and the roll. Look at that one behind the center.
Yeah, great shot. I mean, it took watching a few rocks come down that path to finally figure out the ice and how to throw it and manage it. And RCF is the ones to figure it out first.
They aggressively go after, probably knowing that they could overroll is probably the better option.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just about not leaving your opposition the same shot. You know, just moving your rock around so that they have to play a different spot.
Oh, play the run back, and we'll remove that one.
Yeah, and they just missed the line call on that. Actually, we're making it curl and over curved it, and it was a little too late, so. Lucky they stuck around, actually, because now RCF needs to think about it. So playing this, they're basically saying that, you know, they're okay with the blank. They could go around the center guard and hope that Alina misses, that Alina Petz misses, and to give them their 2, but I wouldn't rely on that a whole lot. You know,
Taking this chance that you could go for 2 if you play the come around, but this one says even if we had blank, it's not the end of the world.
yeah, and you know, maybe getting a better chance for 2 or more in the next end.
Well, Kovaleva, along with Porchinova, World Junior Champs in 2013. Important to stick. And that one will use all 12 feet of the rings.
Just hangs on, which is very, very important, because if they roll out there, Switzerland can come around that center guard and might get a force or a steal if they would have made it good. So it was really important for RCF to hang on to the rings.
And this one for Pets, you want to stick around to force your opponent to have to throw to blank the end. Don't give the free throw through. And she'll make the hit and roll in for Pets. As said, the run that Switzerland's been on in women's curling, 5 titles in 8 years, and she started that in 2012.
Yeah, that program has really grown and increased its depth, which I think is great. You know, we see a lot of nations with 1 or 2 teams. But
We do have their names on that trophy. In 2019, Alina Pets, and this entire team still intact. Of course, I think I saw a little bit of your name right beside that as well in 2018.
2018, yes.
And this to blank the second end. Nothing from the sweepers, but no problem. We'll run it right through, and we'll have a blank second. Keep the score. Switzerland 1, RCF nothing.
Просто страшно, ну, мы попадаем, но если его терять, то можно не попасть.
Вначале тоже не хочется его, если честно, брать сразу, когда только отпускаешь.
The third end of this gold medal game, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. Luke Collet alongside Olympic and world champion Jill Officer. Switzerland leading the game 1-0. RCF still with the hammer. So they blank that second end.
I see this time, although it's going to stop higher than they really would have liked, but this time, because it's an odd end, Switzerland calling for the guard because they would like to force RCF to a point in this end. Whereas last end, they went in wanting them to blank.
We saw yesterday in their semifinal with the centerline guard, obviously tighter, they put up a corner of their own. There, the high one, now they want to go top part of the rings.
Yeah, putting up a corner when you have a high guard like that could make it a little bit trickier to try to use your corner guard depending on how you position it, but you also don't want to have to position it too far out that you're only covering, you know, the 12-foot or the outside of the 12-foot.
And the length of that guard really not in play at all on this shot.
No, not really. You know, it's in your line of sight, so you do have to keep that in mind. But in terms of the ice, you should be able to clear that guard no problem. And this one does need to come up, though.
Makes that late break. Now, tap that one, try and get it through the rings. But not quite enough weight to get it all the way out, so mistake by Switzerland early.
Yeah, and I think if she'd hit more of that rock, if she, you know, if it comes up more and she noses it, it probably just gets through. But now, as you see, that's a mistake because RCF has the opportunity to sit 2 here now.
One sticking around, still in play, and Switzerland's going to try and make up for it. Get out of it now.
Yeah, now they have to try and roll over there. Now they want to try to group the stones. Switzerland or RCF now wants to try to keep these stones as far apart as possible. So important here for Esther to try and get a roll over to that other rock. Needs to stick around though too.
Well, they hit, and look at the roll. How far over do they go? Sit in front.
What a great roll by Esther. That was really, really perfect and so important. It was just important for her to roll over that way, but to roll over like right in front of it, that's excellent.
Sehr schön, gut,
Чуть-чуть выше. Внимание. Внимание. Свип. Больше веса. Да, свип, свип.
So playing to the back, 12 foot here in this third end. And will Jam roll it off.
2 shots in this end is turned around. RCF having an opportunity to sit 2, and a great shot by Esther, and bit of a miss there to not get that red one out, and here you have Switzerland now hitting to lay 2.
Sunny.
Free snel.
Sicher
Is
zo.
goed. Linie is goed. Alina, neem een beetje. Hij is goed.
Is goed.
Poetsen. Zie.
Just playing that quiet way because they want to make sure they hit and stick to lie 1-2.
Tight.
Yeah, so decision a little bit here. RCF could hit. They could just ignore those stones because they have last rock. And they could just go around top 4. But that guard is so long now that we talked about that earlier.
Но сюда нет смысла вести, он хуже встанет. Но, хотя... Сюда просто, мне кажется, сложно, он сюда перевалит, сюда намного легче. Нас просто и так уже форсят, нам завязаться не за что. Окей, давай. Я думаю, надо фриз.
Talking about the freeze, yeah, and deciding which one to freeze to. Talking about how it might be a little trickier to get to the freeze with the in-turn kind of like from the center line out to the right because of that corner guard. It does curl quite a bit off the line, but it might over curl if you to get by that guard. So electing to play the freeze to the middle on this other back line.
Юля первая. О, поднять. Пока очень много, только вес. Это бэклайн. Внимание, Юля. Это бэклайн. Нет, Катя. Нет. Только Катя. Поднять, поднять. Максимально вертикально.
Well, it comes down, little tap. It is shot.
Молодец.
Fast so. Also ganz lieb.
Nase ist
Ja,
okay.
Nase ist gut.
10,5
Ja.
oder? 10,5. Nase. Okay.
Do you try and pick it clean, or do you want to stay in front?
I think even if she just doubles them off, she could nose them. If she gets a little bit to the inside, that's fine too.
Hinter darf nicht. Ja, ist gut. 10,5.
You just don't want to hit this anywhere high, you know, to jam in and roll off or anything like that. So nose or a little on the low side. Because they'll still be laying 2 if they do that.
Well, anywhere on the inside, and they hit to lie 3. They're all deep in the rings.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's better than hitting it on the high side, right? That's why I said. But I think the ideal was nose there. Just they don't need a ton of rocks here at the back to give RCF. So they overrolled a little bit. I think ideally they would have liked to double those out and just leave there 2.
Well, trying to make a double, and we'll get it just off nose.
Ладно, нормально, Юль.
You know, RCF could have still frozen. They still could have played a draw there. Might have had to go a long way out, but with all those yellows at the back, creating a wall could have been an opportunity.
Nase oder leicht raus, einfach nicht rein. Ja.
Ja, bis vor der Gaus.
Nein, Nase ist der Kohl.
Aha, Nase, okay, gut.
Ich glaube, Nase ist gut, Iri. Wenn wir zur Nase kommen, weißt, hat sie auf das Mal so. Ich find Nase gut, aber einfach tendenziell lieber raus wieder rein. Okay? Ist gut. Gut.
Knapp.
Ist gut.
Wanting to roll to the wing a little bit, I think, was the call.
The last of the third stones for Tirinzoni. Maybe just a little roll.
Nose.
Maybe just a fraction off of the nose on that one to lie 3. Here in end number 3.
Давай борт.
Just no real threat for a big score by RCF right now, and continue to stay on almost on the defensive facing these 3.
Yeah, I mean, now that rock's a little higher in the house, there's really no like there's really nothing to freeze to. There's no there's no way to sort of get there to freeze to that, even if they wanted to play a freeze, which is why they're trying to still play the hit and roll, give themselves maybe you know, if you get a miss out of Switzerland, they still might have a chance for 2. But also because these stones are grouped, the blank is still alive too.
Close to trying to roll it. Back and forth with those nose hits.
Ein bisschen mehr brauche ich, kann dir auch mitgeben. So ist gut.
Nochmal Nase.
Dann halt leicht raus.
Ganz sicher raus.
Gut. Die ihre Länge gut gewesen?
10-3. Ja, mega gut.
Ähnlich lang dann.
Ja. Das war Spieler wie vorher gelaufen, hast genau 10,5 gehabt.
Ist 10,5? Ja, fest. Oh, eher klein gegen 10. Kleine ist gut.
Er ist ein bisschen schneller.
Muss Kleine ist gut.
Muss ein bisschen gärlen.
Achtung, nein, zieh. Fest. Fest.
Well, that one made a move. Do they jam and they'll get away with it and make a roll?
Really finishing there, I think, and
Gut gespielt.
definitely. I mean, they're still laying 2. The bad thing about that is that it's now rolled basically to the back of the button, back of the forefoot.
Meine ist ja noch viel gekommen am Schluss, oder?
Chance here for RCF.
Yeah, we got a really good look at Stade and then just really made a move. Hog line in, even with the quiet hit weight.
Окей, 3-5-3-8. Ну, нам нельзя не довести лучше, если что, контакт. Да. Линия супер. Пока контакт. Пока нельзя контакт. Линия будет, линия отлично. Небольшой контакт. Линии чуть больше, больше линии.
Don't want this right down to the yellow.
Нет, линии больше, больше. Больше линии. Yes, отличный. О, девочки, линии больше.
They are going right down to it. Now, see you see that it leaves leaves room for now Swiss to be right on the button, and potentially difficult to remove it for 2 points. I think they needed to leave that a little higher.
T-line.
Wie bitte?
T-line, go.
Genau, T-Line, ja.
85.
Yeah, you leave an opening even though the guard's so high, it still takes away the smash from the RCF. Held this one on.
Yeah, if Alina can make a good one here and put this right on there, it might be difficult for RCF to score.
75.
So Switzerland put the center line guard up to try and make sure there was a score this end. Right now they have a chance to make it a tough score for RCF in end number 3.
This one's really curling and dying already.
That one will come up well short of that one. Grab the curl, and
That's a big miss there for Alina, especially an out-turn draw. We don't typically see her miss a lot of those. She's won 2 world championships on out-turn draws. So now opportunity for RCF to score 2 here. A little bit out of nowhere.
yeah, theirs wasn't even in the perfect spot, and they're able to get a chance to get a skips deuce for Kovaleva. If you hit the forefoot, chance to take the lead early in this game, and sometimes taking advantage of these extra points when you can is the difference between a win and a loss. In this case, a gold or a silver.
Девочки, надо слиться до конца вместе до конца. Вес отличный. Пока много линий. Линия есть. Вес отличный.
Because Mina's going to stay pretty close on this one throughout. Starting to curl. They got to get this to the forefoot. And I don't think they're going to. It'll come up short. So both come up short on their last stone draws.
Yeah, just both sides got caught there in that path, and just really moving there. And with that, when it moves like that, often will come off with the speed.
So 1-1 after 3.
Ja, dann ist etwas anderes.
Ich glaube, es ist wirklich, wenn man ein bisschen es ist nie ein Max, so wie, also weißt, es ist wirklich, du kannst ihn fast eher herspielen und nachher einfach
besser
das
lüpfen.
Split 75 gewesen.
Der hat 13,9 gehabt.
Ja, dann kommt hier nicht an eigentlich. Ja, sie wird.
The score here in this gold medal game. RCF against Switzerland, who will be world champions in 2021. 7 ends, remaining. Scheduled in this game, and a couple of last stone draws. It's surprising you don't see Pets miss that draw very much, and then Kovaleva follows it right down, and it was light as well. It really took that curl and came right off.
Yeah, just lots of movement on that side, and you know, even though there'd been a bunch of hits down that side, you're not covering as much of the paths across the sheet, and both teams got caught.
Moment, noch viel Platz.
I saw the 90%. That's the full tournament numbers for Melanie Barbazat.
Yeah, really great numbers.
Über die Centerline ein bisschen. Fest.
Ja.
All right, to the top of the forefoot. We did hear in the bronze medal game this morning, some of the teams talking maybe a little bit slower, but just that little bit. It's been pretty consistent throughout. Here, just the lone game going on, obviously, down to 2 teams.
And that can be one of the factors, is that it is down to 2 teams, and as much as you know, there's no fans in the building, the weather outside is snowy, rainy today, and that moisture can change things a little bit as well.
контакт.
Нет, не давал. Окей.
Well, slight miscue there from
Mensch, das ist
Kuzmina.
geht das.
We saw 83% on the tournament for
Ich finde es gut im Fall, ja.
the RCF lead.
Push, Reis.
Ich glaube, da kannst du im Fall 80, 85 kannst du da kommen.
Und sie ist gut so.
Ja.
Länge ist okay.
Hat mega viel Hand.
Esther!
Ah, sorry. Hat mega viel
Nein, ist
Hand.
gut.
Länge ist
Fest,
perfekt.
Esther!
Zieh!
Fest!
Länge ist gut.
Länge
Schau
ist
mal.
gut.
Länge ist okay.
Länge ist gut, Esther.
Länge ist perfekt.
Was sind wir?
Vor 8.
Trying to get to the inside.
Wenn dann Tester.
Ganz, ganz leicht.
Sehr schön.
Einen Stein.
Gut.
Super.
Super.
You know when there's a good shot by the Swiss. You hear that super.
Yeah.
Приз можно чуть тэп.
Start to learn a couple words here and there.
Du musst ein bisschen nicht so viel schießen.
Important to make this freeze. Now, having chopped off on that first one,
Тэпчик.
Yeah, if don't make this, then
Линии пока больше.
probably see Arsenkina try and bail themselves out on the next one.
gotta stay on the nose here.
They do keep that angle.
Да не сильно сдох.
Мне просто сначала казалось, что
Я
прям
за линию
уверенно.
переживала.
Also ich habe beide Gelben wahrscheinlich. Ja. Aber ich glaube, sie bringt beide raus wahrscheinlich. Aber ja, so über einen einfach, als gar nicht geht.
Auf welche Seite?
Ja, wahrscheinlich ist es so einfacher zum Spielen.
Okay, ja.
Okay, ist gut. Wie schnell? Also so überwicken.
Ja, 9,5.
Okay.
Gut. Sieht im Fall recht gut aus. Ich hatte das 9 gehabt, mit weniger Eis. Ist gut.
I think they're just hitting the guard but trying to keep the shooter for a corner guard. It's a good call. They have last stone.
9,5.
Keeping a corner in there maybe is a good opportunity, but they do need to get rid of this guard.
Want to try and get as much out of every stone as possible, and that
Ein bisschen eng gewesen.
it's going to stay, but real wide. You never know. You say it's out of play. Sometimes they come back and it's one that's needed to be used.
Yeah, for an in-off or something, but just overswept that a little bit. Wanting to make sure that they didn't nose it, of course, so they're calling it to be safe, but rolling too far.
86% for Arsenkina. Those numbers for the whole championship. Makes the hit and stays side of the 12-foot.
Yeah, really, really nice shot there, because now you see those angles, how they're set up for RCF.
T-line.
Ja, einfach besser als der Rot.
If they do play those in the middle, there would be a double back for Switzerland. So Swiss is electing to try to freeze here.
Sie mitgehen.
Ich finde ihn knapp.
Okay, könnt jederzeit.
So
Länge ist okay.
Ist gut.
Nicht knapp.
Alles gut.
we saw earlier Esther a little heavy on one to the wing.
Das wäre
This one looks close.
Finger 4.
Nur T-line. Ich finde ihn länger.
Looks like it needs to curl quite a bit.
Alles gut. Ich glaube hinter der T.
Gut so ist der schöne Länge. Gut. Eis.
Well, weight was perfect, just didn't quite get over there as much as they thought it was going to.
88 mitgehen.
And is this playing over here knowing it's probably hit and you're just wasting a few to make a play later?
Yeah, right now RCF's okay with just playing the easy hit. Like I said, if they play it around with anything in the middle, there's going to be at least a double back for Switzerland. Right now, just RCF trying to keep any yellow stones from gathering.
Want to avoid jamming, they get away with it as the shooter rolls big also. Just seeing a few half shots right now in this game. That one, they get away with it. But some worry that they weren't going to be able to avoid clipping their own.
быть немного мягким.
Waving to the few people that are in the stands.
Yeah, some of the other teams that are still in Calgary in the bubble,
Einfach gleich genug Hand, dann ist es mega gut.
watching on.
They were doing the wave not long ago. Oh, there they are. They're waving.
Nice to see them to be able to come and watch the gold medal game, and probably nice for the players as well out there to have a few people in the building.
Yeah, really, it's you know, for the ones that are here watching, it's you're either in your hotel room or you're here. So might as well come and watch a World Championship final.
Nicht schlag.
Hang on.
Ja, ja, fest, Linie.
Ganz klein.
Fest. Ja, ja, fest, fest, fest. Hoch, fest,
So
fest.
trying to hit and roll here, but looks like it's over curling already. So they're going to try and get some separation.
Okay.
Let's get another one in. They move theirs around.
Gut, die Länge.
Länge weg, gut.
Yeah, so you see a couple of options here now for RCF.
Нижний, потому что сюда просто рольчик будет. А вес?
Средний мне нравится. Средний? Сюда и ролл.
So run it back and then roll the shooter off to the side.
Yeah, I think they'd have to throw a lot of weight to be able to roll the shooter as much as she seemed to indicate. So we'll see what they throw here. There definitely isn't a lot of ice being taken here. Yep, pretty significant weight as well. I don't think they need to play this much weight here. They want to be able to keep their rocks around.
Well, make the raise, roll off to the corner.
Хорош, Юлька. Молодец.
Just rolls up a little bit at the end.
Yeah, now you see they threw a lot of weight here, and I think that
Чуть-чуть перетерли даже.
I think they could have just
Да.
nosed it. They might not have been third shot, but at least their rock would be in front of their own.
Ролл не надо.
Roll nicht такой большой был.
Хорош, Юлька.
Also weißt du, das macht sie nachher, sogar wenn wir ein bisschen stoßen. Aber du kannst im Fall auch doppelt
Oder
spielen.
einfach
Ich
so.
bin dabei. Ja, ist gut. Ich finde es gut, ja. So, ja.
Gut.
Gut, wie schnell spielst du?
10,5.
Ja. Ist das Minimum eins, oder?
Da haben wir schon
Gut
ein
zum
paar Mal
Wicken.
gespielt. Ja, kannst du ein bisschen mehr geben. Ja. Gut. 10,5.
Ja, ist gut.
Wir wicken nur da vorne dran.
Ja. Gut.
So, yep, trying to hit and roll right in front of the other RCF stone.
Well, Savannah turns only at 86%. Was 4% better throughout the week than her counterpart in this game. All those can be thrown out. Just who makes more in this gold medal game?
Really got to go on this one if they want the roll.
Fest, Nelly, komm. Fest. Go.
Hit and will roll right in front.
Gut.
Sehr gut.
Very nice roll.
Lie second and third.
Super.
Yeah, really good shot there. That was a good key shot there from Silvana.
Надо стоим попасть. Очень остро.
Если что,
да, чуть перевал просто.
Если хотя бы. А первое ты что хотела сделать?
Стей.
А, просто вот
Чтобы
так?
вот так, вот туда он пошел. Даже надо не давал делать.
А,
прям.
вот с этой стороны.
Да. Ну тут прям надо не давал делать, чтобы туда был стоял.
Тут прям можно прям в треть попасть. Чтобы он сюда больше пошел.
Ну да.
Или так.
Нет, вот типа стой вот так.
Как больше нравится?
Мне, наверное, нравится вот так вот и
Сюда?
сюда. Да.
От лба
Да.
сюда?
Можно даже не таким сильным
Он
делать.
сюда не пойдет нижний.
Что-то типа на 9.
So I think they're
На 9?
talking about hitting that one and rolling over in front.
Нет, нравится.
Try to roll the shooter over in front.
Try to roll the shooter over in
Ну
front.
да.
I wondered if there was some discussion about whether they could hit it thin enough to maybe move the stuff in the middle. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what they were standing there like looking at, but I think that they
Сразу дабл, но
ultimately they're trying to play a hit and roll here.
сложно.
And will you get spin off that redstone you hit when it makes contact? Will it try and roll to the center also?
It might a little bit, but and that's what I wondered if they were actually thinking if they would get enough action off of it that it would actually come over and move the yellow one, but I don't think that it'll go that far.
Right now it is RCF line 1. Skip stones on this fourth end.
Поднять. Поднять, поднять, поднять. Внимание. Ждем, ждем. О, roll.
Well, make the hit and roll right in front themselves. Just
Actually, just
ever
missed.
so slightly.
Yeah, just missed it at the end. It came up a little bit, and they just missed the line call on it. They actually didn't sound close because they were off.
Чуть можно было в конце подержать.
See, they're
they actually swept for the roll. They thought they had to go a bit.
yeah, Arsenkina actually sweeping to try to make it curl a little bit. Actually, over curled just a little.
Ich glaube eher der. Also, weil wenn er da kommt und sie macht den Guard, mit dem kommt schwierig, ja.
Ich finde es gut, solange wir besser... Ist gut, der Doppel.
Ja, wie schnell? 8. Oder muss ich schnell kommen?
Nein, musst nicht schneller als ein 8.
Okay.
Von außen oder von innen?
Von außen gern.
Gallet nicht viel da.
Playing the double, I believe.
Just being patient and not trying to get shot stone now, knowing that they might have something on the last.
Yeah, if she can, if Alina can make the double here and stick it, like without touching the yellow really, but stick it on the side, they're gonna have those 2 yellows right in front of the red.
Well, Lena was the top 4th stone thrower all week long. Won't make the roll in, just gets the nose hit.
Okay. Okay.
Good option.
Okay.
Наверное, так же надо делать. Что мы упремся, правда, туда?
Да, из-за этого мне не нравится.
Besser als genau neben der
Но от него в любом случае надо избавляться, иначе мы тут можем на...
Тогда
не
мне
очень
нравится
хорошо сыграть.
просто чуть-чуть наружу. У нее здесь... Нравится стейчку?
Ну, стей, наверное, окей.
Можно попробовать?
Давай так же на 9.
I don't think a discussion's here of whether you're hitting is where you try and roll,
Чуть-чуть ролл, да, ты просто
Ты
посмотришь,
что
что
с потерей шутера просто. А?
or if they jam the back one.
Перевал, если что, с потерей
Yeah, I'm
шутера
trying to see if I can
нижнего.
pick up a few words here and there. But
Перевал это вот туда, да.
ultimately, I think they'd like to roll in front of that situation in the middle, but they need to make sure that they don't jam
Да.
on that back red one.
Нет. Мы хотим стей, чуть маленький перевал, если что, чтобы он просто с нижнего ушел.
With that broom,
Я думаю, что
going to be
около
throwing
среднего, чтобы
big
это
weight.
сделать. Добро.
80% on the week for Lena Kovaleva.
Поднять, 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 поднять. Внимание! Свист!
This one's really moving.
Well, we'll make the hit.
Стой!
Gets away with the jam on the back. But leaves that lineup on the center still available.
Чуть-чуть.
But it's not an easy one.
Yeah, so this one's looking at the angles here.
Kann ich ihn von innen spielen? Ich
Ja,
habe ja da schon
sicher,
das
ja.
9 gespielt vorhin. Wieder ein 9, ist das okay?
Ganz leicht da hin wäre
Ja,
gut.
ist das 9 okay? Oder muss ich langsamer?
Nein, das 9 würde ich schon.
Weil da
Ja.
habe ich
Weil
ja
der
den
da hat
Randdecker-
nicht so mega viel Kraft.
Hä?
Weil der da kommt nicht so mega viel Kraft mit über da. Zum
Eben, das 9 ist okay,
Das
glaube
9,
ich.
ja.
Gut. Gehst du mir auf der Linie? Ist gut.
They're indicating that they think that the nose, the top red one is not the issue here. It's whether or not that back one moves far enough. So they have to get it out of the 8 foot if they want to get their 2 counters here.
So they are planning to hit that red one. Use
I believe
it.
so, yes.
Kick both those reds out. Try and bring 2 into play with this last shot of the 4th end.
Gut, da bleiben. Oh.
Meli.
Fest, Meli. Fest! Fest!
Needs to curl.
Trying to get this one over. Run it back, and that'll go a lot easier than they thought.
Yeah, what a great shot by Lena and a really big deuce.
So answer back with a
Fest! Fest!
double takeout. Clears both of them.
Fest! Fest! Fest!
And Switzerland will get the first deuce of this gold medal game. They lead 3-1 after 4.
Sagt, dass wir ein bisschen rechts brechen.
Ja, Wir haben eben nicht gedacht, noch so etwas. Weißt du, wir haben nicht gewusst, wie viel das der Drag noch ist, weil er ja noch so viel Überlappen war.
Gut, super.
Ins Haus, oder?
Ja, tipptopp.
Was meinen Sie?
Ich würde ins Haus
Ja,
ja.
Oder schießt 10 ab.
Das macht nichts, soll sie?
Welche Seite nehmen wir? Ich kann beide Seiten spielen.
Ja.
Gut, 75, 80 ist gut.
Vorne 4.
Ja.
Well, we saw the first deuce of the game go up in end number 4. Switzerland leads by that number. Luke Coley alongside Jill Officer, end number 5. Will we see back-to-back championships for this Swiss team, or will RCF get their first world title?
Da muss noch mehr Bomben hinterher werfen.
Ja, eben darum frage ich mich.
The first one goes into the rings, and now we'll see the corner guard.
Again, Switzerland's plan, it's an odd end here. They're okay to have RCF blank this end. No, pardon me, they're not okay having RCF blank this end.
Yeah, they come in early, then throw the guard after, figuring RCF's gonna try and go after him a bit.
Yeah, and sometimes you do go in just sort of saying to RCF, try and generate your own points here.
Gib einfach ein bisschen mehr mit.
Especially with the deuce, it's makes sense that they went in.
Kriegen wir besser im Fall.
Well, we're 4 ends into this game and getting not really a whole lot to feel that. A little bit of momentum to Switzerland. It's gone back and forth, but a lot of play has been in the house. Not a lot of play with guards.
Yeah, and they've tried to put some guards up, but they haven't placed them super well. We've seen a couple ends where the guards are pretty long, so it doesn't really help, with any situation necessarily.
And that one isn't where they wanted it. Back 12-foot, lead stones, and now a real free run to go behind the corner.
Yeah, really, and still have, and probably be able to be close to shot, at least second shot here.
Пока выглядит 8 за, 12 за. Подсаживается.
Если надо, то только Юля.
Не надо, вес нет, только линия.
Только Юля. Юля,
Целая.
свипы до конца.
Чуть
Юля,
за.
давай, 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 Юля, еще, давай. Хорош.
Yeah, and it does stay for shot.
Хорош.
Not quite fully buried, so Switzerland can chase this here. You get a good look at it there. Probably about a third to half. And again, the guard is maybe just a little bit on the high side because it's been typically curling quite a bit. Those guards need to be tighter to make these chase around the guards harder.
Sport. Linie ist gut.
Musik.
Gab.
Nein, ich glaube nicht.
Gab.
Sport.
Ja,
Schön
nimm ein
Sport.
bisschen, Meli.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, they get to it, but they're hoping to get a bit more and get a
Okay, so auf.
flatter roll, not quite as deep in the rings.
Куда мы именно везем?
Туда, между ними. Ага. Можно чуть выше оставить.
Окей.
Ну, хорошо бы прям между.
Приз есть. Добавлен очень уверенно.
Приз есть. Линии пока побольше, побольше линии.
Не будет. Внимательно вес.
Линия отличная,
Начал
сделать
бежать.
вес. Свипы до конца. До
Делайте
конца,
вес.
девочки, очень надо, очень.
Давай, давай, давай,
Давай, давай, давай, давай, давай, давай, давай, давай, давай, Катя, надо
Big sweep of taking that curl.
брать.
We've seen that a few times. You get close into that, almost those 4-foot lines, and they really take off.
And that's the outturn spot that we saw both skips miss a draw 2 ends ago. Both Alina missing the freeze, leaving the draw for 2 for RCF, and RCF then coming up light on the draw for 2. So that's a spot where the sweepers really have to watch and make sure that they're managing it from start to finish. Those kind of ones are really important to have good communication on. This one's really moving.
Trying to just hold this.
Okay, kort
Okay. Nu nice. Usa.
kort Betsy.
We did see a little bit of finish on those hits on this side a couple of ends ago as well.
Another attempt to come around here for Arsenkina.
Линия отлично, сделать вес. Да, линия свист. Катя всегда. Фриз. Линия. Катя всегда. Выбьем, кто-нибудь выбьем. Катя всегда.
Нет, вы чего?
You see that little extra weight, and it doesn't catch that curl quite the same.
Okay.
And we'll tap that one through its second shot.
Прости, просто не интересно.
Ja, is dat minimum niet? Ik geloof niet. Zo, zo
I
is
think
goed. Ja.
scoreboard dictating playing this one. In a different scenario, you might play around your own.
Yeah, the scoreboard is certainly part of it. RCF having last stone is the other part, and just the opportunity for Switzerland to force here. So even if the score was tied, at this point, I think that Switzerland would still hit.
Langi. Yep. Krap zijn hoofd. Yep. Yep. Fast. Yep. Fast. Fast.
Really working hard. Got to get past the front.
Go.
Super.
And the nose hit on the back to lie 2.
Yeah, and they're okay getting rid of their own at the back there as well. They don't really need, too much around. If they hit that and make a roll a little bit to the inside and also leave that back one, it's just more junk back there that RCF can use to freeze to it.
Fast. Go. Super. Wow. Нет. 8-5. Внимание, sweep.
Trying to play a hit and roll here now off this top one behind their corner.
Well, make that. Do they make the double? We'll stick it in the back.
Yeah, you heard Alina Kovaleva trying to woe the sweepers to make the double at the back once the roll was missed.
Just that one corner guard out in front. The 2 stones in the rings here. And number 5. Switzerland, chance. You get a force here in this 5th end. 1-point lead with the hammer. A gold medal game. You got to try and finish off, make a couple of shots. They have the opportunity now. They want to stick around. Rolls off to the side.
Really wanted to make sure that they rolled there. They didn't want to sit there and leave the chance for RCF to have that hit and roll under their corner guard again. So I could tell by the way Alina was calling the line on that she was over calling it, if anything, to over roll it.
Porchanova now trying to freeze this one back 8 foot. This is that same draw path. Again, the extra weight.
Yeah, just really, it runs a little differently with that back house weight compared to the top house weight. The sweepers were really getting caught on the top house weight. You throw a little extra, and then it doesn't come up.
Ja. Komm, ein Sachti.
Ja. Ich will raus.
Ja, finde ich gut.
Sachti.
Ja.
Bis da. Raus. Ganz raus.
Ganz raus. Gut.
So with that one, on second shot, might just be peeling this one straight out.
So, mega kontrolliert da.
Ja.
Top.
And there's less to create a pocket for RCF to freeze if they elect to.
For sure. Yeah, they don't need to. They could stick around as a biter, but I think it's more important to just make sure you're rolling.
Head up, please.
Oh, and Alina's already.
Picked out of her hand. This
Yeah.
one's going to be on their own.
Fish.
Well, an unfortunate one there for Alina Petz.
Yeah, she turned around pretty quickly after releasing that rock, knowing that it picked right away. It's a tough break.
Watch the release on this. And and it was actually on a release almost, it seemed.
Yeah, but you see right here, right there, she starts to turn around right away and started to clean up the ice, as well as Melanie after the rock hit. So,
Maybe
you know,
picking on release.
it looked like she was trying to get it back a little bit. You know, it'd be uncommon for sure for Alina to be that off of the target.
Yeah, and
So
you go
may-
back to see where it picks. Maybe it was just going by that angle the way her hand was on it.
Yeah, sometimes you get a feeling in your hand that there's something underneath it, and you try to do something to it. But either way, unfortunate for Switzerland.
Мне нравится состояние. Мне довольно неудобно останется. Да. Или с потерей шутера.
Well, and it was Alina Petz first, so this is a hit now to lie to. For the other Alina in the game, Kovaleva.
Поднять,
Девять,
поднять,
пять.
поднять, Кать, поднять.
9. О, поднять!
This is one now. You get a break your way, you need to take advantage.
Yeah, I need to stick here.
And unforced error, the open hit rolling out.
Yeah, Switzerland's breathing a sigh of relief.
Ja,
Also ich habe da gespielt, das ist schön gekommen, oder? Oder willst du lieber von innen?
Nein, nein, ist gut.
Gut, gut.
And the sweeper's taking some extra care to, and Silvana, to clean the path. Make sure that whatever debris might have been there is now gone.
Da habe ich schon mal gespielt.
Yeah, they know. Happiest person right now, Alina Petz, now that she can forget that first one, have this hit to lie to, and still have a chance to get the force.
I mean, you're going to get misses in a curling game, but it's always tough to see
Achtung.
a picked
Meli ist
rock.
gut. Meli.
That's kind of out of your control.
Fish.
Trying to make this one hit and stick. And another one.
Okay.
Wow.
Roll out back, so a chance at the blank.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe Alina just, you know, maybe it was a little bit of release on the first one, and she overcompensated, you know, throwing it a little bit straighter and hitting it then on the high side. Or even if it was a picked rock, just being cautious.
Having it in the back of their mind now. After that exchange, an opportunity for RCF to blank this end.
Поднять.
Keep the hammer, keep it a 2-point game.
Попадаем?
Нет, ничего, хорошо.
And maybe some nervous moments, but they make contact and roll out.
Молодец. Хорош.
So we're halfway through this gold medal game, and it is a 3-1 Switzerland lead.
Meine. Ich halt sich. Also, кушать.
Девчонки, напряглись немножко.
Да, можно?
Чуть-чуть, поспокойнее, да?
Всем понятно, что напряжение
Все,
будет
все,
нарастать.
тихо.
Well, the first end of this gold medal game started with RCF an opportunity line 2. Switzerland couldn't make the double, so a nose hit to start off this game with a single point for the defending champions.
Yeah, really a big force for RCF. Ended up being a big force here in the first end for them.
And just a clean, nothing out in front. Pretty open first end. And there it is, a single to start the game. In the third end, you see that stone top 8 foot. That was the freeze attempt by Alina Petz. Same path now for RCF to score 2.
Yeah, and just getting caught here a little bit, I think, on this path. It seems to really be curling. It's not like Alina Petz at this point in a championship to miss an out-turn draw. And you'll see here that Alina Kovaleva, sweepers are on it the whole time, and it just really starts moving, and also get caught in this path. And it comes up short. And it's only 1.
So a missed point.
And Switzerland dodged a bullet there.
In the fourth end, line up those stones on the center line. Figure out the angles if you can hit it, make both those reds go away, and keep your shooter to score 2.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure that this back one would have, how much action it would have on the back one, depending on how the angles and the drag effect came into play. Switzerland has to make this one curl, and they get it enough. Back one goes easy, and a big deuce there for Switzerland.
Yeah, the only 2 in the first half of this gold medal game. Switzerland had a bye to the semifinal as the top seed in round robin. So did RCF. So they played the winners of the qualifying game in the semis. That sets up this gold medal game. And if you didn't see it earlier, it was the United States scoring 5 in the 7th end to beat Sweden and win the bronze medal.
Вдруг подсела и завязки из-за этого нет, да? Но все равно они нас затаскивают вот бить. Надо. Вот 2 камня стояли у них, ну, относительно неудачно, да, в самом начале, в самом конце. Понятно, что если бы завели неплохо, но все равно вот так видно было, все равно достается. Сюда пытались, не получается ничего. Вот так же продолжаем. Чуть-чуть добавить в исполнение сейчас, чуть поточнее, чуть и поддавим. Нужно поддавить обязательно.
We force here, or if they blank, it's okay too, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah, let them
Okay.
blank, I don't care.
We're 2 up, so.
They will go a bit. Also weißt du, jeden. Ich finde es nicht Schlagzeug.
We are ready.
Nein, aber...
Hey.
Ja, ist jetzt ist wirklich...
Ja,
ich finde die Situation ist wirklich gut.
Ja,
Also,
ist gut.
ich rede gleich noch.
And Alina,
Das ist okay.
Alina, like this, the brooms can really keep it straight. So we can, if we want to make a roll or whatever, like coming.
Well, through 5 ends of this gold medal game, Switzerland leading 3-1. 81% for RCF to 80 of Switzerland overall. Draw percentage pretty close, within 1% as well. Hit percentage, slight advantage to RCF, 85 to 82. A 3-1 game. Second half upcoming. Just like that, the second half underway, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021 gold medal game. Switzerland knows that feeling, lifting the trophy, being world champions. They're trying to do it again as they did in 2019.
Yeah, and Alina Petz was not happy after that last end and leaving that blank opportunity. You know, her first one either picked or she was super tight and maybe overcompensated on her second one for that rollout. And it'll be interesting to watch to see. I mean, they're a very obviously experienced team, but it'll be interesting to see if they can sort of maintain with the momentum that they had, even though they gave up a tough blank.
Well, that guard for Katerina Kuzmina coming out of the fifth end break, sliding into the ring. So opportunity early for Switzerland to play the hit.
We talk sometimes about the sixth end after the break, especially if you're the only game out there, and the ice makers come out with the big wide broom and they go up and down the sheet and up and down the sheet, and it almost warms it up a touch. And so it's often faster in the sixth end. And if you don't remember that, you slide in on a corner guard.
And even the best, it happens to him. You see coming out of that break, sliding into the house. Kuzmina, 85% above her tournament numbers. Try and get the corner guard in play right now. And playing to the same side, they have one that opponent's stone in behind that they're wanting to maybe use as well.
Yeah, it could come into play in the sense that they could use it to play a corner freeze too, or they might be able to hit and roll over there and have it behind the guard. It's a good adjustment.
Vielleicht, ja. Aber ich weiss nicht, was willst du auf die andere Seite spielen? Ja, oder ein Guard?
Nache Guard.
Ein Nache? Okay. Ja. Ja, wenn er 12 ist, ist auch okay. Ja.
Es läuft jetzt recht gut, finde ich, auf dieser Seite, Esther. Normal.
Esther Neuenschwander, 70% has had some half shots. They hit and roll out.
A couple of draws. She did make that really great hit and roll earlier in the game as well.
Okay. Linie wäre super. Er ist fast freeze. Okay. Er ist freeze. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well, just overlaps, creates a bit of a stagger. And
Yeah, and they almost, knowing that that was coming in, they almost should have swept it to just keep it on the nose. It was, the call was originally a guard.
Окей. Там как идет? Слушай, думаю, будет подваливать. Окей.
so can he use Arsenkina, who throws the hit weight very accurately. Try and make the double.
Sweep! Sweep! Да, 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 да! Юля, да, 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 да! Sweep! Wow, wow!
Well, there's the hit. And over the top. I think they're going for all three.
I think they were, and then she tried to to maybe just roll over. But when you throw so much weight like that, you can hit it pretty thick and still roll a long way.
Well, just goes over the top of that. So close.
But it does stick around. And so Switzerland has to deal with it.
Going out to the wide side spot. We haven't seen a lot.
Wanting to stick.
Well, rolls big all the way across the rings. And that one sticks around.
Yeah.
Ja, ein bisschen angespielt.
Либо сюда привести. Только это одна точка. Ну да, там маловато места. Стой, отлично будет.
So they could play the run back
Мне
or the
нравится
corner
на
freeze.
10. 10? Да. Окей.
Подваливает. Внимательно, пожалуйста.
So playing the run back.
Probably because it's tighter.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it could be because of that. It might just be a comfort. That might have been the discussion. Like, what do you prefer to throw? What do you feel more comfortable throwing? You know, the freeze is fairly precise.
See a great look as it makes its move right in behind.
Wonderful shot. Wonderful shot to just dead nut that behind their guard. And so you'll see Silvana take a run at it as well.
Just real alert to know it's going to make that move.
So Silvana trying to remove both of these now, but this is why RCF played this, because if she misses this, then they have a chance to sit two.
What a game, 95% for Silvana Tiranzoni.
Finger. Ich weiß, ja, keine Ahnung, weiß nicht.
Won't get the run back. Will just peel the guard. So just like that, the run back made by Arsenkina.
Изнутри ты можешь получше поехать.
Да, но не сильно.
Будет-
Будет съезжать, будет садиться. Я думаю, 13:40, 13:30.
Да.
Это как сюда?
Chance here now for RCF to
Да,
Ну,
примерно, да.
да.
sit two.
По линии скажем, как.
Да-да-да.
Линия отличная,
Надо
девочки.
вес!
Куда идет?
Куда идет? Делаем!
Надо зайти.
Упор есть!
Trying to bring this right down to this back yellow one.
Больше, девочки, пока упора нету.
Поднять.
Катя, да, свип. Да, ниже. Давай, Катюх, ниже, еще.
Хорош.
Хорош, Юль.
They don't get it far enough, but it is on the deeper side, which is good. They didn't really leave
Потому что
a double that you would tackle at this point. And Silvana will just try to roll over
Я его не добавила,
near it.
поэтому он
Да,
подсел.
нет, мы... То, что упор.
Gut, da hast du.
Nicht so schnell.
Ja! Fest!
Calling on it right away.
Want to try and roll it over.
Okay.
Just into the top of the 8-foot.
Okay, auch.
Stay. Ага, на 10. Ага. 10. 10.
Там подваливает, помните?
10. В этом месте подваливает?
Да. У меня промоушен подваливает.
Промоушен пошли его. Свип!
10, 9, 5!
Вау! Очень да! Свип! Свип! Да! Вау!
Trying to nose this.
Поднять! Вау!
A big sweep, and did they oversweep it? Rolling away.
Yeah, they,
Хорош!
I
Just
think
stick
it,
around to outcount that.
yeah, I think it might just be out counting.
Yeah, look there that it is
Um es 8.
pretty close, but I think it's red line 1-2.
Yeah, and Switzerland must think that as well because that's the choice they've made to hit this.
Kleine Wick.
Ja. Ist gut. Nicht so wie
Ist gut,
Tester.
besser siehst.
Ja, es kommt ein bisschen. Sieht gut aus für das 8.
And the Swiss team trying to go back-to-back. Haven't seen a lot of back-to-back Women's World Curling Champions. Just 4 teams have ever done it.
Yep. Whoa! Yep! Fest! Fest!
Trying to roll this over near the red one.
How about right into it?
Gut. Super.
Right next to it. It nestles down in the 4-foot for shot stone.
Yeah, and that's a really good shot there. They want this group together to hopefully have a double on Alina Petz's last.
Fest! Fest! Noch nicht. Nehmen.
Well, trying to nestle right beside.
Fest! Fest! Noch nicht. Nehmen.
Gut. Super.
So RCF now wanting to roll away, try to get away from there, roll maybe to the back 8-foot.
%83 for the game for Alina Kovaleva.
10,
Her
5!
second time as a skip at the World Championship.
They don't want to nose this and leave a double for Petz.
Well, the hit will make that double, but almost a double is hard to miss.
Yeah, and you know what? It's actually a bonus for RCF that they clipped that back one because now the blank is live. If that yellow one's still at the back and Petz makes this double, RCF is forced. So that was a bit fortunate for them to catch that back yellow one.
kann nicht zwischendurch.
Ja. Gut, genau. Das ist gut. Das ist gut. Den hast du.
Yeah, a little tilt to the head probably realizes that.
If you caught at the end of the fifth end break, the Swiss meeting, they said, if we get a blank, it's okay. And they got to come after us. It's an even end. They're giving up one of their hammers.
Whoa, Esther, whoa. Yep.
But Pet's going to make this double.
Schön. Schön.
And a stay.
And does just that to sit in the 8-foot.
So super Steine, Patsy.
Again, a lot of the play
Super gespielt, Patsy.
in the rings here for another end. Both sides not quite setting up those perfect shots early. And
Yeah, and they did have the corner guard up in this end, but with RCF choosing to play the run back instead of the corner freeze, then Switzerland played the run back, and that's how the guard went missing. So yeah, we haven't seen a ton. We've seen lots of rocks in play, not very many out in front.
so trying to finish off and keep the hammer. Trying to blank the second straight end. Don't want to take that one, and we'll roll that one out for RCF. So the score remains 3-1. Switzerland leading, heading to the seventh end.
Ich bin mir nicht sicher im siebten Ende. Also mich schießt es an, wenn wir den ähnlichen machen. Ja. Also sprich, wenn wir das Ausgehen rausnehmen. Ja, darum würde ich einen Guard spielen. Ich habe das Gefühl, sie geht rundum. Das Gleiche haben wir schon gegen sie letztes Mal gehabt. Ne?
Gut, ja.
Ja, dort haben wir ja auch schon gesagt. Gell? Ja.
Irgendwann haben wir es auf jeden Fall mal gesagt.
Ja. Ja, von diesen
Spielen
Spielen.
wir noch Zeit. Jetzt ist es im Fall auf dieser Seite ein bisschen besser gelaufen.
Einfach normal.
Ja.
Gold medal matchup of the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. 3-1, 2 straight blank ends. The third blank of the game. All 3 blanks coming with RCF having the hammer. Now we're into end number 7. We talked about it, getting into that, having the hammer in the even ends. Right now it's 2 apiece. With 4 ends remaining, RCF obviously having the hammer and is going to put up the corner guard.
Yeah, they like to put the rocks in play, and I mean, Swiss really wants to. They really want to force to a single here. RCF really would like to take advantage of having this last stone, being down a couple of points. You know, if they were tied, maybe they would try a little harder for a blank.
Wir würden einfach lassen.
Also wie schnell?
Hin 8.
Ja, hinten 4 kommt runter.
Hinten 4.
Nein, hinten 4, aber vielleicht kommt er noch mehr runter.
Ich finde, er sieht aus, als würde er mega
Wir
gut.
hängen sicher nicht an, Esther.
Er ist perfekt, Länge ist perfekt.
Kannst du zuschauen auch.
Einfach lassen.
Sehr schön.
Schön.
Sehr schön. Nicht einfach gewesen, schön.
Nice start there for Melanie to send.
And that's where she's consistently been throughout the round robin. Just the one loss. That loss coming at the hands of Sweden.
Линия отличная, внимательно, внимательно. Пока чуть побольше линии. Линия появляется. Не-не-не-не. Контакт нельзя. Линия пока чуть больше.
Пока чуть контакт.
Нет, линия супер, да, свип.
Давай, прижать.
Супер!
Молодец.
Хорош, молодец.
Спасибо.
Молодец.
Молодцы.
Ja?
3-7.
Ist gut. 2 oder was?
2.
Nein, ich würde schon eher ein 3.
Okay. Ein 3.
Ja.
Also einen Meter vorne dran, vor dem.
Ja, ich will nicht, dass sie da noch mal fräst.
Also ist gut.
Also sie kann von der anderen Seite fräsen, aber...
Ja.
Also,
Eben. Wenn wir selber fräsen.
Okay,
Ja.
dann.
ich glaube, ich würde fast,
Das wäre
ja.
noch gut so vor 8.
Ja.
Gone-Freeze. Ja.
Was denkt ihr da?
So some talk about the guard, which is a little surprising to me, I guess. But you know, thinking that they again really want to make sure that they either force or steal. Swiss would be happy with the steal here too.
75.
Eigentlich ist okay,
But they're
schöner Max
ultimately
schnell.
electing to play the freeze.
Also wenn der Max ist, schenken wir an.
Länge ist gut, Länge ist perfekt.
Er ist auf der Guard.
Ist auf der Guard.
Wo sind wir?
Länge ist
12.
12.
Zieh. Ein bisschen teilen.
So already on the guard.
Das ist okay.
Gut so.
Das ist gut.
Okay, glaube ich, ja.
So actually worked out not bad because they did talk about sort of staggering those front guards if they were going to throw the guard.
На 10.
10.
Окей.
В сторону 9-5, да?
Можно на бортик, нет. А?
В сторону
Мне
борта
кажется, да,
можно
в сторону
попробовать.
борта.
Ну, нам просто для
надо
рола
мало
попадать мало
пройти,
надо,
прям.
надо, чтобы он точно уходил.
А?
Так, хватит.
Для рола надо мало попадать, надо, чтобы через весь дом точно уходил.
Ладно, давай на 10. Надо
Да,
прям вот
нравится.
сюда такой.
Yeah, definitely like this call. I really like trying to hit, roll over behind their corner guard, lay second and third. And those ones in the middle are would be open,
Whoa, sweep.
or somewhat, at least
Внимание,
3/4
sweep.
open.
Воу, воу, свип.
Стой. Там многовато
They'll
веса.
make the hit, but will roll off to the side and unable to stick around. Had to wait for make sure it didn't spin back. We've seen some where they spin and actually come back as biters.
Yeah, and that's too bad. That would have been a great opportunity to sit second and third and maybe get a bit of pressure on Switzerland.
Это явно малый счет, потому что
Would have forced Switzerland to have to deal with the red in the wings.
Hure viel mitgegeben. Ist Max schnell, fast fries.
Okay.
Ich glaube, er kommt ein 3. Nein, ist einfach wirklich noch schnell.
Die Linie wäre gut für ein 3.
Wir können
Also wenn
nicht.
er mit
Er
dem
ist
Fries,
fries.
Linie nicht schlecht.
Er ist fries, sicher.
Er ist
Meli,
12
dann. Meli.
Fuß. 12 Fuß.
Nein, er ist
Fest,
fries.
Meli,
Komm
komm.
bis daher.
Fest.
Putscht ein bisschen sogar.
Fest.
Fest, Meli, komm.
Trying to keep a good angle onto that red.
Sorry.
Okay, so.
Okay, nicht so schlecht.
Zu viel gegeben.
Ja.
Jetzt läuft es wirklich normal im Fall weiter.
Мне нравится колодкой.
Да, окей. Мягкой?
Да, максимально стеем надо.
Окей.
Там подваливай.
Если что, от гардика сыграем.
Окей.
Just trying to move these around a little bit. I think wanting to get as much to the to the nose as possible.
Поднять! Ближе к борту! Нет,
Нет, совсем. Воу, Юля.
Нет, не надо,
Воу, ждем. Вытри подальше.
They not roll far enough away.
Well, they should have been sweeping it when they knew that it wasn't going to hit on the nose. They should have been sweeping that as far over as they could so that they didn't leave this double here. You know, if they'd rolled it farther to maybe make it even, they might have gotten away with it. But because they left it right there, now it's a double for Alina Petz. That was why you couldn't hit that really on the high side. You know, even if they'd hit it a little bit on the high side and kept it there, it would have been a chance for Switzerland to still remove both reds. So I'm not sure that I loved the call, but they definitely needed to almost like try to like wire the guard, like get really close to the guard on that one.
Whoa, Meli. Fest, Meli. Komm, da kommt gut.
Wow, almost the whole way trying to get this one to curl. Go yellow to the red, roll over, make that double, and lie 3.
Da noch. Super.
They probably could have played the double on just the reds, but it was certainly easier to play it that way. More natural.
So a 2-point game and RCF with the hammer. They're trying to find a way to generate a chance to get that second point.
Yeah, they need a good roll here and maybe a half a miss from Switzerland.
Свип! Вау! Вау! Нет! Свип! Вау! О! Вау! Поднять! Поднять! Нет, это стоит.
And we'll just make the nose hit. Those are
Ладно, нормально, Юр.
tough. Just the big weight. Take the sweeping right out of it.
Yeah, I really think there's times where RCF could consider throwing a little less weight. They're so good at throwing the big weight, which is great, and it's such a weapon. There's certain times with shots like that where if you throw a little bit less weight, you can manage it a little bit more because it'll curl a little bit more. You can bring the sweepers into it. I find that you see that a lot more in the men's game, and perhaps it's because of the sweeping abilities. There's a lot of great sweepers in women's curling, but the reality is women are just not as, typically strong as the top men's teams. So the men's teams throw quite a bit less weight on their hits, I find.
Trying to avoid the jam in the back.
Oké, dat is goed.
They do give the fortunate break of getting away with that for Tiranzoni.
Thijs.
Он не особо простой стоит. Надо прям маловато попадать. Какие варианты?
От этого сюда не нравится?
От этого сюда он у нас хуже станет все равно.
Double's
Нет,
pretty
вот этого
thin.
от этого сюда. Да. Да, мне нравится. Но он просто не особо много торчит. Я его мало вижу. Да.
Really like the call to hit and roll off this one on the right in the 8-foot.
Наверное, на 10
Hit and roll to the in behind the corner guard.
Мало попадать. Если что, попадем чуть больше, оставим где-нибудь здесь.
So they're actually talking about playing the double, but hitting it a little bit on the thicker side so that they don't actually deaden out the yellow one, but to hit the yellow one out and spin their shooter up over behind the corner guard. I think I would just, it's important to keep your shooter around here, so I think I would just hit and roll over to that, maybe to that one, or like I said, hit off that other one and roll behind your corner.
Trying to make that, and we'll stick it in behind the center line guard. Playing it quieter, they don't remove the yellow, but no problem.
It's not bad though, because they've left it behind the corner guard. So if Alina Petz makes this dead run back and noses it, RCF should be able to come around to that corner guard and potentially get shot rock out of it. Ideally, if Alina could hit this right on the nose and actually the one that they're raising in, actually roll it over to bite the 8-foot, that would be ideal.
Another one, seeing a lot of this right out of the hand. They're trying to carve it over. And we'll miss it altogether, peel their own out.
It's actually better probably for Switzerland that they ended up peeling their own out, but it was more important for them to make contact with that one in the house.
Хотя мне, наверное, больше вот на ту нравится сторону. Да. Почему? Дайте лайн. Тогда дайте лайн. На открытую? Все, что ниже, хорошо, да? Да.
Well, that 1 point for RCF could have been a 2 in this game. They're going to try and split the rings to score their 2. Very different RCF team than we saw in that semifinal. Even after they get up, they played, I feel like they're playing more draws in that game than they have in this game.
Well, they might have had a little talking to from their coach about all those rocks in play that they left yesterday in the semifinal when they were up 5 points. And it was a bit of surprise to me to see that with them because they are such a good front-running team and because they can hit so well.
Yeah, to stick to their strength, and they have lots of it. And this one, is strong as well. It's going to slide. Will it stop in the house? Just an unforced error. Has to hit the house.
Yeah, and just, you know, a few opportunities back and forth here. I mean, we saw that, you know, in the fourth end where Alina Pats had a chance to play a freeze and missed it, and then RCF missed the draw for two.
Never a good sign, Jill, you're a front-end player when you back right off. Because you can't do anything. You can never slow a stone down.
No.
Legally. And Kovaleva knows they just gave the chance of two right up for another time in this game.
Yeah, the only good news for RCF is that they're going to blank an odd end here. And that means they're going to end up with 2 hammers to 1 for the rest of this game.
Well, they're trying to get it over to make a bit of a roll. Unable to do so, so just that 1 stone in. Nestle to blank a 3rd consecutive end here in this championship game. It's 3-1 in this one. Their round robin game was an 8-6 Switzerland win. Definitely lower scoring. This to be the 4th blank end. And we'll be able to do that. So another blank goes on the board. No score in the 7th. It remains 3-1. Switzerland leading. Now 3 ends remaining in this gold medal game.
Нет, не решали. 3-5. 13 как в центр. Ну, получилось так. Ну, это не запланировано было.
Понятно. Просто что обсуждали, что там плоховато катит, мне кажется, там не очень плохо катит.
Да, мне кажется, на самом деле, что вот эти треки вообще очень хорошо катят.
Gut? Ja.
Schnell. Länge ist gut, finde ich.
So a 3-1 game here in this championship game, the gold medal matchup.
Ein bisschen weiter rein.
Ach, Fuß. Länge ist gut.
Ist gut. Geht ganz 4.
Another blank end, and
Halbe 4.
the first stone will come in because now we're into 3 ends remaining, 2 hammers for RCF to 1 for Switzerland, and in such a low-scoring game, those points becoming so big. We'll look at a comparison of the numbers. Barba's at 88 to 82% for Ekaterina Kuzmina.
Switzerland going in here for the exact reason that they would be happy to have RCF blank this end again.
Легче, легче, легче.
Хорош. Молодец. Супер.
Vor 8, 12.
Ja.
90 Dämpfer.
Ja. Ich bin ähnlich schnell.
Fast
91.
gleich.
Ich habe das Gefühl, er ist schon kürzer.
Länge gut.
Ich glaube, ich müsste ein bisschen.
Knapp 12.
Fest dann.
Alina sicher.
Linie ist voll Fuß. Linie ist gut.
Fest.
Genau 12.
So looking to bring this one in as well.
Super gewusst.
Really don't mind bringing everything, all the play into the house.
Two really nice shots there by Melanie.
Там подваливает или прямо?
Думаю, подваливать будет.
Well, every shot becoming how much more critical as you see those 3 blanks up on the scoreboard behind.
10.
Внимание, свип.
Воу, воу.
Воу, воу. Да, свип.
Свип не бросать!
Да. Оу, воу. Свип, свип. Воу.
Well, hold the shooter, even though it's not buried, but it's in the rings.
Хорош, Кать, хорош.
Нормуль.
Yeah, a bit of an overroll there.
Innerhalb oder
So
nu?
it's open.
Ich würde im Fall, ja. Bei mir ist es aber nicht recht gut.
Нет, здесь есть
Also
6.
ich finde Satz 9 ist gut.
But still good, because if Switzerland does nose this, then you'll see RCF go around their corner guard. I think Switzerland would like to roll back
Gut?
in, if they can.
Ist gut von der Länge.
Oh, Meli, Achtung. Meli.
Seeing a lot of the sweep with the curl in the last couple ends, especially with Switzerland, as they make that roll into the 8-foot.
9, das ist mega gut.
Ah, wirklich?
So we could play the double, but I think it's important here for
мне нравится
RCF to
вести.
actually just play a hit and roll underneath.
Мне кажется, надо сюда.
Arsenkina a slight
Мне нравится
advantage
на тон
over
привести,
Neuenschwander,
нет?
80 to 77.
Либо сюда надо, либо сюда.
Первая мысль была на боковой. Вот сюда.
Куда?
Вот, на этот.
Вот сюда.
Да.
Да, мне нравится. Ну, надо либо сюда угол, либо сюда ставить.
Ага.
I'm just talking about a freeze to the yellow on the right-hand side, thinking that if they freeze there and Switzerland tries to hit it, it would actually go into their other, into the Swiss's other yellow stone. Just trying to corner freeze.
Первая. Приз. Юля.
Линия отличная, линия побольше, линия отличная.
Свип, линия.
Линия супер, девочки, внимательно вверх. Внимательно вверх.
Легче, легче. Легче. Линия чуть больше. Будет линия.
Да не надо же.
Воу, воу, воу. Воу, нет, нет, нет.
Want to bounce off and just that little tap.
Yeah, that's the problem with playing freezes like that is you can't afford to roll off on those.
Ich finde einfach, ja,
And now it's a little bit more work for RCF to get out of this. Whereas if they had just played that hit and roll behind the corner,
gut, ja. Verteilen.
you know, maybe they get a better chance.
9,5.
Okay.
Switzerland will not want to leave this one here, sitting right here. I think they'll try to roll over to the middle a little bit.
Innerhalb. Sehr. Wow. Gut.
Länge ist super.
Achtung. Wow. Meli eigentlich. Okay, ist okay so.
So eliminate that red stone.
Gespielt.
A few stones to try and use for RCF.
Чуть тэп.
Ага.
Ich glaube, sie hat keinen Rücken, oder?
Можно чуть-чуть не
Just
давал.
going to rearrange these. They're going to move these
Это
two
вес.
middle yellow ones and just leave their rock either right in the top 8-foot there, or if it's coming down and it's actually a little bit on the thinner side, they could play it to just roll over in front of the other yellow. So they've got some stuff to work with here, but they need to get some of these rocks behind the tee line.
Не добавил. Не добавил.
80.
Катя
Внимание,
первая.
линия свип. Воу,
80.
линия свип.
Свип, свип.
Да.
Очень.
Давай, линия свип.
Давай,
Воу. Хорош, молодец.
When they play that tap, they just try and find a way to keep a red stone around.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Like, it's going to be tricky for Swiss to get rid of it.
Много линия.
Das ist blöd, ja. Sie frisst nachher daher
Ja.
wahrscheinlich.
Ich glaube, wir müssen da hinein lösen, damit wir nachher den aufmachen können.
Okay.
Was wir machen können, ist versuchen so.
Ja, ist einfach ein bisschen gefährlich, oder?
Also was?
Wenn wir nachher da
See them trying
Wenn
to...
wir bei mir
There's a
rollen
bit
raus.
of a hole on that
Weißt du, wie ich
left-hand
meine?
side.
Das finde ich nicht so gut. Ich würde eher einen längsameren Stein spielen jetzt.
Okay, also, dann machen wir so.
would actually be okay for them to pick one of their own out there, I think, because they don't need to leave stuff for RCF to work with, but they don't want to dead jam either.
Nein, nein. Ist gut, komm, wir spielen den. Ich sehe keinen anderen.
Okay, wir sind nur an Bord. So,
10,5, ja. Ich glaube, 10,5 ist gut, Alina.
bis da.
Ja.
Was machen wir nachher, wenn sie da freist? Der Nase.
Ja, der ist ja dann frei dort.
Okay,
Ist gut. Ich finde es gut im Fall.
Bord.
Ja,
Bordlänge. Nein, 10,5 schon.
ja, Bord.
Bord ist gut. Bord, so 11.
So playing quieter weight than I thought.
Yeah, I think actually they're talking about hitting the red one and actually leaving it like dead nutty and on the back yellow one, the one that's in the middle, because then they have a couple of options with their yellow ones.
Gut. Finger ein bisschen schnell.
And if they do roll a little bit to the center, then that red one would actually be open. I'm not sure I love the idea of that, but
Nein! Esther! Null putzen!
I'll try to go onto that red,
Perfekt. Schön.
open it
Super
up,
schön.
leave that one red in there, a second shot.
Super.
yeah, that was the call.
Gut gemacht.
Both thirds good numbers in the game, 86 for Portunova. Sharon's only at 89.
Да, чуть-чуть. Добавила. Пока контакт. Линия отличная. Галя первая. Внимательно. Да, свип. Да. Контакт. Вау. Нет.
Маленький контакт.
Нет. Ждем.
Just right into the pocket, and
Окей. Хорош, Юлька.
still Swiss lying one.
Спасибо.
Nochmal genau gleich.
Ja, ist gut.
Nose hits
Ist Bord.
on that red.
Yeah, same sort of idea that Silvana just played. That Silvana played on her first one is just to roll their shooter over to the other side there, and just leave that other red one exposed. And then RCF is going to have to somehow deal with the one that's biting the button, and somehow open something up to give themselves an opportunity for two.
Jetzt ist ein bisschen kürzer als vorher.
Putzen, Achtung! Dranbleiben! Gut. Ja! Wow! Ja! Wow! Ja! Wow! Nelly! Wow! Nelly! Ja!
Okay.
Oh, leaves that lone redstone.
Gut, so 10, 8.
Yeah, didn't quite get enough curl on that as they wanted.
Он виден там вообще? От того не нравится?
От этого сюда?
Да.
Мне нравится. Да, выглядит хорошо.
Ниже больше половины.
Мне нравится бортиком.
Бортиком нравится, да.
I like this call. Playing board weight, coming with the intern, rolling in behind everything. Because the angles are now set up fairly well for RCF on the yellow, red, yellow combination.
Внимание.
Lightboard!
Вау.
Похож на
Внимание.
колодку!
Да, свип. Свип. Нет. Да. Вау.
They want to try and make that roll,
Поднять.
anticipate that curl.
Вообще нет. Не валит.
And they jumped the sweep. They overswept it, thinking it was going to make that break, and it rolls through the rings.
Yeah, and that's a big missed opportunity there. If they can make the roll there, it puts a bit of pressure on Sweden. Or Switzerland, pardon me.
Also auf der Linie 9,5.
Ja, er darf ganz leicht draussen sein, weil selbst wenn er an dem
Genau,
kommt,
ja.
geht er, glaube ich,
Ja,
noch.
ist gut.
Das
Tipptopp.
9.
9 ist okay, ja. Kommst du 9? Nase.
So I think just right on the nose to essentially pick that red one
Ja, das stimmt. Ja.
out. They do have to watch that yellow one on the side though, if they pick it a little too straight. Cross.
Ist gut.
9. Wow. Ja. Ja. Fast. Hard.
This one coming off the center line.
Hard.
And we'll slash that out, roll away, and lie. 5.
Aufgesprungen.
8 ist gute Länge.
But I think they wanted to hold the nose.
Yeah, and what they've left RCF here is a bit of a pocket there that they might be able to work with.
Не знаю. Нам вот сюда вот нельзя, это надо прям вот не давал, да. Мне нравится.
Вот чтобы там от тройки можно будет сыграть.
Если она, правда, гордом закроет потом. Если нам...
Только если вот так пробовать, но это будет близкие.
Девчонки, время. Ага. Да, мне нравится, наверное, между ними может
Look at the fourth stone, the battle of Alina's in this gold medal game. 80% for Kovaleva, 73 for Pets.
Думаю, да. Окей.
Yeah, a little lower for Alina Pats than we would typically see in a pressure situation.
Да.
So I think they're trying to play into the pocket in some way here. It's difficult to put it in a. It's difficult to get to a really good spot here.
Almost have to move it in a little bit to sit in front, but
Yeah,
it's getting real late in the end.
it is. Yeah.
See if they can just touch that one, roll over in front.
Yeah, pretty good shot. That was probably the best she could do with the idea of playing the freeze, because if it curls a little more, Alina Pets can just pick it off. And if they move that other one anymore, she can just hit the one that's in the top 8 foot. So it's almost forces the guard here for Switzerland. No way to remove it.
Ich hätte jetzt gesagt, ein 3.
Ja, ein 3, genau vor der Rot.
Ja, ein 3 vor der Rot, oder?
Okay, aber ich weiss im Fall da von der
No need to come right in. It just allows something to score multiple points.
Yeah, no need to come right in, but I think if you do, I'm not sure that it makes much difference. Right now, RCF doesn't have really a shot for 2 because that yellow one on the left hand of the 4 foot is actually, I don't know if it was
Second or third.
Yeah. It might have been third, but if RCF tries to play on their own to remove the one off the button, their shot rock would not be shot over that third shot of Switzerland.
Nein, muss nicht, Meli.
Esther, dranbleiben. Esther, dranbleiben.
RCF might even be in trouble here to score a single, depending on how this guard is.
Got to get this across center, guard up that one. And did they leave it open?
I think they did.
Sicher die richtige Seite.
The only thing is RCF needs to get to the inside of that red one if they were going to play it, to get into the crotch of it. Make sure to move both of those yellows. And I don't know if they can quite do that. It looks really tight to me to try to play that red one. You need to at least get to the nose, probably more so the inside of it.
It's just that guard goes over. This is tap's not there. That red-yellow combination's pretty automatic on that in-turn path.
Выталкиваем. Ну, что-то около бортика, я думаю.
So she's going to take a try at this anyways. At least make sure to score.
Борт такой, может, колодочка ближе.
Needs to be able to move that third shot rock of Switzerland in order to get 2 here.
Борт уверенный.
Final stone of this 8th end.
Слабеет. Это борт.
Поднять, поднять. Ничего. Поднять. Все есть, все хорошо.
Trying to come up, make sure the red onto the yellow, and they'll do it. Playing that for 1 the whole way there is they don't sweep it. It's a single point So Switzerland will keep the lead
Спасибо.
and will get the hammer heading to the ninth end, leading 3-2. 2 ends away from trying to go back-to-back world titles.
Ja. Ich würde beide hindern. Also weißt, wenn sie einen stellt, wäre nicht so tragisch jetzt, oder?
Ninth end underway of this gold medal game. 3-2 is the score right now. Luke Coley alongside Jill Officer. Jill, you've been in many of these situations. As we get in a 1-point game, it is Switzerland with the hammer, so they have that advantage right now in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that RCF has going for them is that they scored in the 8th end in a close game. Switzerland would love to be able to blank this end here, be one up with, but I think we're in for a good finish here.
Well, it's been close throughout. Both teams have had small openings. 1-2 on the board. We're back in the 4th end. Top part of the rings, and Switzerland obviously has had success, but this team's trying to become just the 5th team to go back-to-back.
Шестой сам. Линия отличная, надо шестого. Мне казалось, не особо добавила. Линия отличная.
So RCF putting up another guard. Really trying to force the issue here. Really want to have that last stone in the last end. Or they'd be happy with a steal here too.
Yeah, and the way the game's gone, maybe it is better to steal one, only seeing that one deuce out there. See, tick shot now. Those 2 centerline guards put out in front.
Yeah, and they just see enough of that one that's tight to the rings. That's the one they're trying to tick. That's the one that's the trouble rock for Switzerland.
Trouble rock no more.
Great shot, and will this hang on? No.
Tried, but a great throw, because that one was the second of the 2 and couldn't see a lot.
No, she really couldn't see a lot. And they actually wanted to hit it maybe a touch thinner, because then their shooter might have stuck around.
Пока чуть больше, пока больше линии. Добавила. Пока чуть больше линии, чуть больше линии. Линия будет, начал съезжать, делайте вес. Девочки, внимательно, чуть больше линии. Шестой. Шестой. Внимательно вес. Юль. Воу. Хорош, хорош, Галь. Супер, Галь, молодец. Спасибо.
So now just walking up to peel the top one.
Jilly, a long time second. This is the fun part of the game for you, to be able to go and play the peels. Know you have that lead. Make these big shots.
Yeah, well, especially when it's a single peel, right? Like, I was known for that shot, and Esther's great at that as well. And you know, in these pressure situations, when you're getting down to crunch time, that's when you really need to kind of not take for granted that, you know, you typically make those shots, but to make sure you have that focus. 'Cause you certainly don't want to flash or nose appeal at this point in the game. I mean, you never do, but this would be a really bad time.
The spotlight just a little bit bigger in this game, and each and every end getting closer to the end.
О, как можно выше. Юля первая. Надо будет подвалить. Юля,
And that guard back out in front.
Юля, да. Да.
These teams see the trophy. It's a sheet beside them. They see the hardware out there. It's hard to forget this is the gold medal game when you see all that out there.
Yeah, sometimes when you come out and you see that, it's almost better to just take a good look at it. You don't have to go right up to it, but don't ignore the fact that it's there. Otherwise, it's like an elephant in the room. So you're better off actually like
Just embracing.
just embracing it and taking a look and seeing that it's there.
This is the moments where experience comes in. You mentioned it obviously a lot, Switzerland being the defending champions. They've been there. And this team for RCF, this is their first as a foursome being on the ice in a world championship final. A couple members were in 2017 when they lost the final to Canada, and Rachel Holman.
Сделать хок. Есть хок. Хорош, Юлька, молодец. Спасибо.
But again, they have that one in the top of the 8-foot for Switzerland here into third stones.
What did you?
Yeah, Switzerland just looking to peel here again. At some point, RCF might have to decide what they're going to do.
Yep.
Continuing the peels, want to be aware of that one on the side. They are aware and they get rid of it. So make that double peel.
Зати. 4 за отлично, даже 5 за будет отлично.
Yeah, so now you're going to see them going around.
And go around now because you have that other guard out in front. The two centers have stayed.
Yeah, and the yellow one is you know, it's buried enough that Switzerland can't use it directly onto shot rock if they can get this one shot rock. So this looks pretty tight and light.
Well, just touches that one and sliding in its second shot. They're hoping to go right around everything. No. Make that move, and when you do, very little room for error.
Yeah, so choosing to actually play the raise here, I think purposely doing this to try to keep the blank so that they have the hammer in the last end. They could hit the red one and roll to the wing for their 2, but maybe they decided that their preference would be to be in control with last stone.
Nicht so schnell.
Achtung. Wow. Meli.
Okay. Okay.
Well, it just peels the one, gets rid of the guard, doesn't get the one in the house.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that shot, only because they did miss, and now they might end up getting forced to a single. You know, whereas if they hit and roll to the wing, they would be up 3 without playing the last end. So I was a little surprised to see them go up there and call that shot.
Мне нравится. Да. Ролл сделать, что форс.
I think I picked up a word, force. We're going to get the force and have to play it that way, knowing it's not the great steal position.
Yeah, and I think RCF should be happy with forcing here. I mean, they could have just given up a blank or a 2, but with the shot choice and the results of Silvana's stone, now all of a sudden they have a chance to force and get the hammer back for 10. I think I'd be pretty happy with that. Especially with 5 rock rule. Lots of opportunity to score 2, sometimes 3.
Well, all those scenarios come through. You need to execute the shot now first. Can't afford to nose and leave a double. Kuzmina all the way on this one. And doesn't get the roll.
Yeah, had to roll that. Now it's back in the hands of Switzerland to still potentially get out of this with a blank.
Там просто прямовато ходит, страшно было.
Siehst du das in oder alt? In. Ja, gut. Ist das in oder der out?
So play this in turn, try and make that double.
Ja, gut. Ein Viertel. Ein Drittel ist auch noch gut, dann rollen wir sicher raus. Okay.
Nicht viel, viel länger.
Fish! Fish!
Well,
Gotta
now
go.
need to make this double. Big sweep. Do they have enough to get it out? Got to go all the way out with that red one for Pets. And they'll make that double. Nervous moments and a great sweep to save that one.
Yeah, really good sweeping there by Melanie to get that. Get enough, not too thick on that top one, and get the action on the second one. See it moving off the line there and just kind of goes across the top a little bit, but has enough that Esther can sweep it out of there.
Well, and you know you're tired. It's been a long week. This game 15 for both these teams. And, you know, you make that, you have a chance to blank the end, keep the hammer, and a 1-point lead, trying to win the World Championship.
Yeah, this end has gone back and forth here in the last 3 or 4 shots.
Nowhere to hide with this one.
Мне кажется, надо вверх.
There's a rock, a Swiss rock that's just way over on the side there. And RCF trying to put it near there. Never know what might happen.
But need to make sure they force Pets to throw the last stone of the end to blanket, and they will. Well, Pets trying to go back to back and get that trophy again. Obviously a 1-year gap with last year's being canceled. They wouldn't even have been the team to have a chance to defend it if there was a World
It's true.
last year. To win the Swiss Championship this season.
Yeah,
Come to the bubble.
their Swiss championship last year had been held, and it was Alina Stern, I believe, that won the championship and went to Prince George for the Worlds last year. And then the Worlds were canceled and everybody went home. But they were able to hold their championship again this year, and this time it was this team here.
And a chance to defend their title. And this will be one step closer as they will blank the 9th end. A low-scoring gold medal game. It'll come down to 10. Switzerland leading 3-2 with the hammer.
Ja. Het is wirklich schlecht für 2 Softpeeling.
За них.
Закидывать.
Ага. 1.
10th end of the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. We are in end number 10 of this gold medal matchup. Well, we have a back-to-back champion or a first-time winner in RCF. RCF will have to try and steal this one away. Switzerland called to play for the blank, played a run, an angle slash in that 9th end. Could have tried to play for 2. They were playing for the blank, missed the shot, but got the shot missed back from Alina Kovaleva. So a couple misses that led to that.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland almost got forced after missing that run back to hang on to the blank. And they're lucky they got out of it.
Well, a tick shot. There's one shot made as Switzerland tries to keep that 4-foot open for Alina Petz.
Such a pressure shot for the leads. 10th end, World Championship. Need those ticks to really ease the tension a little bit on the rest of the lineup.
Well, in a game where we've seen definitely more hits than a draw game, not as wasn't aggressive, but conservative aggressive, I guess you could say, in this one. Alina Petz has only thrown 2 draws in this game.
Yeah, certainly we were talking earlier, Luke, about how there hasn't really been a ton of guards in play. There's been rocks in play, but not really a ton of guards in play.
Macht ja nichts, oder?
Also, nein, komm, das ist schon gut. Schon gut. Da.
Ja, wenn wir nachher 2 im Haus haben.
Ja,
Ich finde es gut, Iri, so. Ist gut, man hat es ja vorher gut kontrollieren.
Okay. Noch mal gleich.
ja, ist gut. Kommst noch mal gleich schnell.
So I think they're just talking about the turn they were playing here. If they play the same turn, Melanie could push it, the red rock, behind that corner guard, the far out corner guard, and have that other red one buried. So I think they suggested playing the other turn, but Silvana still called the same turn.
Again, chips that one on, rolls the shooter in, and actually outcounts the stone of their opponent.
Yeah, really, really good shot. And it's okay that they knocked that one in. The important thing is to get that center open and keep it open for the skip.
Can't fault RCF. Their guards were in good position for Kuzmina, but Barbazat just able to take them away with the chip shot.
Хорош, молодец. Хорош, Галь. Спасибо за свип.
Well, every stone fair game now.
Genau. Läuft schön.
Trying to be extra careful with every single one of these peels.
And you did notice that Switzerland played the ticks on the outturn, trying to leave that outturn side open for Alina Petz if she needs to draw. Like I said, she's won 2 world championships.
Oh, and we'll kill that one in the rings.
Great shot there by Esther. Hasn't been Esther's best game, but if you show up in 10, it's a good time.
Yeah, and just a glance at watching from our viewpoint, we can see the Swiss bench, and they were fist bumping in behind Sebastian Stock and Pierre Charette for that one, knowing that's a key one.
Yeah, really key. As a former second, I can relate to how much Esther wanted to make that 10th end world championship. You make a good one like that on your first, you get an easy straight up peel on your second, hey?
It's another peel through second stones. This 10th end.
25, 26. 6.
Надо валить, валить,
Пятый.
надо валить, валить.
Как вес?
Шестой. Надо подвалить чуть-чуть.
Well, they're
Пятый будет.
moving this center line guard around a little bit. Just put it in a different spot.
Хорош, хорош, Юр. Хорош, Юр.
Yeah, you don't want to keep putting it in the same spot all the time when Switzerland's peeling.
Вот, Ири.
That probably went a little further over than maybe they would have liked, but Switzerland's not going to switch up turns here or anything that would create any problems.
Nicht so schnell.
Putsen, ja. Gut. Wow.
Gut, gut. Super, Diri. Schön gespielt. Gut. Sehr schön. Super gespielt.
Another peel, just that one stone that belongs to Switzerland. They have the 1-point lead there. Don't necessarily even need that kicker in the house,
Пятый.
but it's a nice bonus to have.
Галя первая. Да-да-да-да-да.
Yeah, for sure. Now you see RCF switching up their position again.
Ниже. Не, не надо ниже.
5, 6.
Это дом? Четко.
Шестой.
Окей.
Нельзя дом.
Дом. Schön groß da.
Well, it's been the end of out turns. It's not going to change now.
Yeah, and Alina's just taking a double check at the angle so that they maybe don't accidentally also peel that one out, even though it still wouldn't be the end of the world. Now you look back to the beginning of this end and you really, you know, you're thanking Melanie Barbazat for making those ticks because it's a totally different end if both those ticks aren't made.
Well, and we'll peel, and they will lose that one on the side.
Gut so, Diri. Schön.
A little unfortunate, but a 1-point lead. And nothing in the rings, and the one guard out in front,
Да.
not really protecting. RCF knows they have to steal to have a chance at that trophy. It's been a well-played 10th end from both sides.
Yeah, really, I'll say it again. I mean, everyone's made their shots here. But really, the reason that this is such an open end for Switzerland to have likely a pretty easy shot for the win, it's those tick shots.
Делайте вес.
Линия отличная, сделать
So
вес.
RCF going to
Линия
go
выше,
around
выше
that
линии.
one guard. Will have to be on the edge of the 12-foot.
Нельзя вес. Вес сам вообще. Нельзя трогать. Будет супер.
Не-не-не-не. Да-да-да, Галюся, да-да-да-да-да-да-да.
Супер.
Молодец.
Молодец. Хорош.
Ja, dritt du hast.
Das ist selbst. Ja, Bord ist gut.
So.
Ja.
Gell, ja nicht.
That guard is pretty long,
Gut heben, so.
Ja,
and it's not fully buried.
Ja.
See there, probably a good solid half.
Weggehörlet da. Wir haben einfach das oft recht kontrolliert da und am Schluss kommt er nicht mehr fest.
Der war auch recht fein gewesen. Also
Ja,
von dem
genau.
her, weißt
Где я раньше была?
Still laughing, RCF in the 10th end
Yeah.
here, which is good.
Well, Lena Pet's going to go after,
Rapport,
chase
Rapport,
after, but
knapp.
it's one if you
Hack.
Wow.
going to miss it, you want to miss on the guard.
Backline Hack.
Gut. Wow. Ist gut, putzen dann.
Backline
Wow.
Hack.
Zieh ein bisschen. Wow. Ja, zieh ein bisschen mit dir auf. Komm. Zieh.
I just don't want to sit there really, but
Einen Stein.
yeah, that's good.
Just easily comes down, the quiet tap.
Super Länge. Gut gespielt.
Dumm gerollt, gell?
Schon gut.
So now RCF try and freeze on top of this one.
Yeah, try and freeze on top and make it the best that they can.
Надо фризика.
Как сейчас вес хорошо будет?
I mean, it you know
Да,
depends
да,
a little bit on what they would like to see Alina play, which I assume is to make her play the draw. As you said, there hasn't been a whole ton of draws this game. And depending on how this is frozen, maybe we even see Alina hit if she's not feeling confident with the draw weight.
I was able to do that with the 1 point lead as well. Need shot stone right now.
This is really curling.
And this one will not. It's going to over curl, and that will end it right there without their last. Switzerland goes back to back. Switzerland will win back-to-back titles as they now join Doherty Nordby, Elizabeth Gustafsson, Sandra Schmirler, and Het Norberg as back-to-back world champions.
Well deserved. They were just at the top of the standings all week.
You have to. You have to.
Thanks for the game.
So proud of you.
You couldn't like rely on draw weight, so you couldn't play too offensive because the draw weight was just.
Yeah, and you hear Alina saying about the draw weight, and that's exactly what Luke and I were talking about is, you know, not a ton of draws in the game, and so that's was a choice by the team to play it the way that they did and not have to have a ton of precise draws. And it would have been interesting to see if Alina threw that last rock, whether she would have actually chosen to draw or tried to make a hit of some sort. You see the U.S. team walking by there as they're going to come out and get their bronze medal here as they're preparing for the ceremonies here in the venue. And like I said, a great week for RCF as well. A great result, qualified their nation for the Olympic Games. And they should be pretty proud of themselves. Doing some touch-ups for the championship photos. Hard to lose that gold medal game, but hopefully RCF is pretty proud of their result. They were also the top of the standings all week.
Silvana, congratulations. What a week you guys had. How happy are you guys able to cap it off with the world title?
Can't get any better, really. Like, just to have an amazing week and then finishing it like this is, yeah, it doesn't get any better.
You guys really, obviously a low-scoring final. You battled really hard to have Hammer coming home. How important was that?
very important, especially if you have Alina, throwing last rocks, she's not going to miss too many of those. So Hammer coming home was a good feeling, so I was quite confident.
And now you guys are back-to-back champions. You join quite the field of back-to-back champions. How does that feel?
No, it's like, no, you cannot describe how it feels. It's especially after such a long time. I've been here for 5 weeks, in this hotel room. And we can't wait also to go back home and bring that cup back home to Switzerland.
Congratulations again on another world title.
Thank you so much.
So very elated, happy Silvana Tiranzoni. Back-to-back champions, as Luke mentioned, a small group of teams that have done that at the World Women's Championship, and this team now joins that group. And like Silvana said too, they've been here for a while. Many people have been here in the bubble in Calgary for a while, and really looking forward to getting on that plane tomorrow and heading home with the cup. Although I'm not actually sure that they get to take the cup home, but they'll be happy to take their medals and their little curling rocks home. And see Coach Pierre Charette very, very happy for them as well. And this team is actually also qualified for Beijing next year, not just by their performance this week in qualifying their nation, but this actual team will represent Switzerland in Beijing next year.
Galina and Alina, just a tough battle in that gold medal game. What was the difference that allowed Switzerland to come up on top?
Тяжелая борьба в этой игре. Какая разница получилось то, что привела Швейцарию к победе?
Ну, мы сегодня допускали больше ошибок, чем вчера. Думаю, это и было ключом к нашему поражению.
We just made more mistakes today than yesterday, and that was the key of our lose.
And you guys were fantastic all week. Obviously, not coming out with the gold, but you have a silver medal that you come home with. You have to be happy with your team's performance here.
Прекрасная неделя для вас. Вы с серебряной медалью приезжаете. Должно быть счастливы этому результату.
Да, безусловно, мы счастливы. Мы много для этого работали. Ну, придется ехать в следующем году за золотом уже.
Yeah, we're happy for sure. We worked a lot for this result, but yeah, next year we should go for gold.
Well, congratulations on your silver medal. Great job all week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021 is wrapped up. Now teams will get a chance to get the medals, pick up that trophy. Jill, you've done that before. It's quite the feeling to be out on the ice and get to hoist that trophy.
Yeah, for sure. And the short victory walk that the teams will do, even though there's only a few people in the stands, some of the other players from the event, I'm sure they'll give them a big round of applause on the victory walk, and they still get to do it and do that together and come around that trophy.
The bronze medalists winning this morning, beating Sweden, Tabitha Peterson, and their third, Nina Roth, Becca Hamilton, Tara Peterson, Eileen Geving, and the silver medal RCF, Alina Kovaleva, Julia Porchinova, Galina Arsenkina, and Ekaterina Kuzmina. Of course, your world champions back-to-back from Switzerland. Skip Silvana Tiranzoni, their fourth, Alina Petz, Esther Neuenschwander, Melanie Barbazat, their alternate, Carol Hovald, and their coach, Pierre Charette.
And they'll get organized here and gather around the trophy.
Welcome to the medal ceremony of the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. This has been a challenging week for everyone here in this excellent facility the Winsport Arena at Canada Olympic Park in Calgary. A huge thank you must go to the first-class local organisers who, together with Alberta Health, Curling Canada and the Canadian Government, have worked tirelessly to ensure that this championship has taken place in a truly professional way and, very importantly, in a safe environment. Our team of officials, media and TV crew have gone the extra mile over the period. And of course, no event could take place without our wonderful volunteers. Thank you. I would like to make special mention to our ice crew who have worked round the clock to ensure the excellent ice conditions we come to expect. A huge thank you. To LGT, together with all our sponsors involved, thank you so much for your support. Now to our teams. This has been a long and exhausting week, as for the first time, 14 teams contested for the right to become world champion. Each of you have had to cope with regular testing, all the quarantine rules in place, and the disruption of the schedule. Despite all of this, you carried on with some fantastic curling, and as ever, showcased our sport in the true spirit of the game. Thank you. To the 6 teams who have qualified their country for Beijing 2022 Olympic Winter Games, many congratulations. And to the teams who will now challenge for the final places for the Olympics later this year, good luck. I deeply regret not being there to present the World Championship trophy and sincerely hope that very soon we can all be back together again. Huge congratulations to all our medal winners and to the 2021 LGT World Women's Curling Champions. Well done.
So the medalists have been brought out. The last stone has been thrown here at the World Championship. And Switzerland, again, on top of the world. So they've lifted up the trophy. They'll get their photos. They'll have their time to celebrate now, as that wraps up the LGT World Women's Curling Championship for Joan McCusker, Mike Harris, Kevin Martin, Melissa Saligo, Jill Officer, myself, Luke Coley. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see the highlights first of this gold medal game. The fourth end, a chance to play this double. And really, it was the only 2 of the game.
Yeah, so it really ended up being a key shot here for Switzerland, the only deuce of the game, and not a super easy 2 here, but an important one.
Yeah, had to make sure he hit the right angle to make that double.
Yeah, and you see the shooter stick and the red goes out, no problem.
And then the 8th end, and trying to have a chance to score 2 is RCF, and just couldn't get things in position and forced to play this tap to get the single point. Didn't think there was anything for 2.
Yeah, she really, you know, in order to try to get 2, really had to get at least to the nose or the inside of this red one, and still had to have enough weight to be able to move the one that was on the side of the forefoot. So not much opportunity really to do that.
So it comes down, we'll end up tapping that one back, a little roll off, but they get their single point to cut the lead in half. And after a blank in 9 to keep the hammer, RCF had to get shot stone with their final stone. And it'd be an open look for Switzerland to win the game, but have to get this one first.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see Alina Kovaleva actually make this shot, or to make it close. You know, I don't know if it was just not enough ice or what here, but the line was just kind of a problem right off the start. And see the sweepers here, as soon as it goes off the line, it really starts to curl and ends up over curling.
And hadn't thrown a lot of draws in the game, so didn't have it. The line doesn't work, and Switzerland will win that without throwing their final stone of the 10th end in this gold medal game. So as they celebrate out on the ice, the medalists, it's been a pleasure to bring you it with our great crew that's been in the bubble for a long period. Thank you to them and all the crew that got us here and got us to the end safely. It's been a pleasure bringing you the coverage of the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021.
Mega viel Hand. Ich finde ihn recht gut, er zieht schon. Wow.